right there. Stand by on cameras, stand by videotape, stand by slow-mo. Stand by to roll videotape in 5. And roll tape. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
All right, everybody, it is 9 o'clock p.m. And it is time for the midnight running once again. Oh, hell with that, man. We got a lot of mints tonight, folks. I'm telling you, folks, most things are not supposed to happen around Christmas time. I mean, really. Most stuff is not supposed to happen around Christmas time. But here we are. Literally speaking, Trump on Christmas Day blew up half of Africa. You got Clav, he up there running over a nigga. I mean, heck, what is... can we just not end 2025? Look at all this shit that has happened this year. We arrested Chuck E. Cheese. You know what I mean? What is going on? I lost $23,000 because of tariffs. I thought I actually had it easy this year, considering what everything else is happening. Chuck E. Cheese arrested, and he's been a big supporter of our channel, and the cops went and busted him. That when they busted Chuck E. Cheese, that's when I knew shit was real. All right? This has been just a wild year. And the worst thing is, we still got 5 days to go. No telling what's going to happen. No telling. Now, John Bravo, he done put out his new video. We're going to check that out in a minute. But, of course, naturally, I got to introduce what I got. I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. I just have regular smoky vanilla coffee. I'm waiting for that to cool down. As you can see the steam escaping from it. Gotta do it in a homosexual manner. And, of course, Gurkha Black Ops. And my water cup, give it to me, my good friend Pugman. Y'all be sure to thank Pugman. Yeah, Tefano has been through some stuff too. Now, my face is feeling a little bit fat tonight there because I've been talking all day. And plus it's a little bit swollen. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I got a cold or something. So I was truly gonna actually cancel the show today. Or maybe just do an hour. But no, there's just too much to fap off to. So I went ahead and sucked it up, took a little nap, did a couple stretches, beat the meat a little bit, when you jerk off there, that boosts your testosterone up, get you woke up and everything. So if you need to wake up, you need to boost your testosterone, just jerk off.
Funny Clav TikTok edit and Greg's response to the Clav situation.
Matt starting us off right with a $3 donation here. All right, let's see what we got here.
Is he dead? Go for it.
Give a fuck if he like it, but he gon' respect the scriptures. Yeah, I some funny games till a nigga trippin'.
Don't draw him with this guy. Draw. Is he dead? Go for it.
Give a fuck if he like it, but he gon' respect the scriptures. Yeah, I some funny games till a nigga trippin'.
Yeah, it could be as hard as he want there. when he hit that medium security prison, because like I said, folks, that's medium security prison. That ain't no, I'm telling you right now, that is not minimum security he gonna be in.
Coach Greg, and in today's video, clavicular vehicular manslaughter.
Well, before we actually begin that, Matt, Greg Doucette's kind of annoying. I'm going to light my cigar. Lamar, what's up, dog? KCB, the Arm Man, I forgot to say what's up. And always my good friend Ryan. Y'all got to thank Ryan tonight, too. Because I actually asked him, should I do a show? He's like, yeah, we can do that. That's cool. Chuck E. Cheese got arrested because he didn't collaborate with Genova. You know what happens when you don't collaborate with Genova? You get arrested. No, it was for... This wasn't the Chuck E. Cheese. This was just some nigger in a costume. He was arrested for credit card theft. Kind of surprisingly respectful that a black person is doing a white-collar crime. Typically, we do other low blue-collar things like steal watermelon from patches and shit, and stuff. I'm just kidding. Most of you crackers do that shit anyway. In any event, folks, enough with the racism and stuff like that. I just feeling good tonight. Yeah, they're going to... KCB? Yeah, there's no tennis course, but they're going to use him like a tennis ball. He going to be on someone's belt loop. I on God, too. But yeah, it wasn't the real Chuck E. Cheese, just some black guy up there. Like I said before, I'm kind of surprised that a crackhead looking like that commits a white-collar crime. Credit card fraud is a white-collar crime, I wouldn't typically count on the prowess of a Negro like that in order to commit a crime like that. But hey, it's 2025, I mean, those urban people are getting kind of smarter, Just keeping it real and telling it to you like it is. In any event, let's get started anyway, so...
On this guy over there.
Oh my fucking
Start driving with this guy. Drive.
And so I've been saying claviculum is the worst YouTube...
By the way, folks, I'm going to give you a warning. A lot of the videos we're going to watch are going to be about clavicular. So, because it is a big deal, so just get used to it. Don't go and complain to the great one about it. This is the big story. This is the big cheese, This ain't 9/11 big, but it is big.
In the
it ain't as big as the great one's cock, neither. What is good, Eric? What's up?
World, and people have doubted me. Oh, he isn't all that bad. Well, he just ended his career and perhaps the life of another individual. Now, what exactly...
That guy ain't dead. He's perfectly fine. Ain't nothing wrong with... Well, I wouldn't say nothing wrong with him, but he's perfectly fine.
...took place. And remember, it's Christmas Day, and Clavicular is perhaps hoping for a Christmas miracle, as he's been kicked off of YouTube already, and most recently, kicked off of Kick. Kick doesn't hardly kick out anybody. They almost allow you to do anything.
No, they don't. What are you talking about? Heck, I mean, you may say that for Rumble, but, places have limits.
But you can't live stream yourself attempting to end the life of another human being. And so Clavicle, who I do believe is a sociopath or perhaps a psychopath, you pick your pick. And so he's been stalked by a fan. Fan is a little bit too excited about Clavicular. He wants to meet up with him. I do believe he threw perhaps some water on him at an event, and he keeps showing up in order to get on a Clavicular stream. We've seen this in the past.
Well, he sure did get on a Clavicular stream, didn't he?
Famous guys like IShowSpeed.
Well, those hair transplants are stupid, KCB. I've even told John Bravo it was a bad idea to get those. It's a waste of money, taking hair off your asshole and putting it on top of your head. What do you expect with
People show up to him and they do crazy things. And so what we have in today's video is a guy showed up while Clavicular is driving essentially a tank. He's driving a Cybertruck. He has passengers in the vehicle, and this fan, this stalker, if you will.
By the way, folks, I almost forgot, and before I begin, one of you guys asked me about looks maxing. I will tell you this right now, folks. There is only one way that the Great One looks max, all right? Only one way. All right? If you want to looks max the old-fashioned way, green tea mug mask. Okay? This is what works. This is looks maxing. This is the closest you should get to looks maxing. You should look like freaking Jim Carrey. If you don't look like Jim Carrey, you're not really looks maxing. Okay? This is some straight old school freaking Goodfellas, women with the stuff on, or Betty Rubble from the Flintstones type stuff. That right there is a green tea mud mask with volcano mud. Volcano mud! Alright? That's the only looks maxing you should do. Anyway, back to the show, goddammit.
Shows up and essentially goes and does some googly face.
Yeah, I was Shreking that day, wasn't I, Quick Pump?
He does that, trying to get his attention, perhaps trying to get on a live stream, as many fans, they seem to do this. And he kind of jumps himself up onto the vehicle, onto this tank, if you will, this bulletproof truck. And so Clavicular, who has no expressed emotions whatsoever, I don't personally believe that
he has emotions. They're just covered up by when you're on meth, you're numb to everything.
He knows how to experience normal human emotions. Now, you might doubt me, you might think I'm exaggerating. And so what does he decide to do when this guy essentially jumps onto his vehicle? He decides to run over him. And so upon driving over this individual, Clavicular had no emotional response. Not a, oh my God, not a, my goodness, what have I done? Not a sense of fear, nothing. And so people on the internet are divided. Oh, it's self-defense. He's going to get off scot-free. The other side, people who actually know.
Either that or this could have been all entirely staged as a stunt, too. But, he did get charged for it, so if it's a stunt, the joke's over with. You better reveal yourself.
You're not allowed to end someone's life over being a crazy fan. If you were in imminent danger, the person has something in their hand. If they pressed a button, something could dislodge and perhaps that could end you. If that were the case, by all means, you have the right to defend yourself. If the person's life is finished, can't say the proper word, it would be second degree, ends with starts with an M. That's the worst case scenario, and it also could be considered vehicular homicide. And so, unfortunately for Clavicular, he can't use self-defense as an excuse because without an immediate threat, once it's over...
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the commentation, Judge Roy Bean. Shut the fuck up with that. You ain't no attorney. You've never worked in law enforcement. The Great One worked in law enforcement, and you are wrong!
You can't then drive over the individual using deadly force, and a Cybertruck is in fact considered a weapon. A stalker slash fan, if you will, who jumps onto a bulletproof Cybertruck is not considered a legal threat. And so he has no justification to drive over them. Now, where it's caught in 4K, you can see Does Clavicle appear to be petrified, to be losing control, scared for his life, where he just drives off? Oh my goodness!
Oh, no, this definitely ain't no Suge Knight situation. Suge Knight drove and ran someone over at full speed. You know, this is weak sauce.
What's going to happen? Absolutely not. He's calm, collected, and upon driving over the individual, what does he say?
Is he dead? I don't know. Hopefully.
And so if somebody is annoying you, throwing water on you, pop on you, yelling at you, making fun of you, calling you names, teasing you, saying, why do you use the N-word? That's just not cool. We don't like you. And then he jumps on the hood of your car with no weapons, no ability to do you harm. You can't decide to end his life. I'm sorry, but many of you think it's okay if somebody says a mean thing to you, fuck around.
What do you mean? No, I don't know of anyone that thinks it's okay to run someone over. I know he's still smoking cigars in prison too.
And find out. Well, when you fuck around and find out, and then you do something to that person, you are then subject to the harshest penalties of the law. Now, does anyone think it's going to look well for Clavicular? Let's see his prior history. Well, he's punched a 56-year-old woman at a wedding, as well as a 63-year-old man. Hitting elderly people, it doesn't really look good for you.
You see, again, he's wrong. I mean, he's gonna do some time if he does nothing. But as far as the things are concerned, here's how you get out of that situation. You toss that dirty white boy that he ran over some money, and they won't testify. So he'll end up with probation. It's not going to work the same for Wes Watson, however. But for Clavicular, he does have some gateways out, of this. You can't run a case if the person doesn't testify, and he can just as easily maybe give him $50,000, $100,000, and boom, you're done.
At a university, had a kilogram of, I forget which name of the drug it was, caught with tons of steroids, which in the United States, it's highly illegal. Now, in Canada, it's legal to buy steroids. In the States, it's not quite so much. Also, crashed his car. We've seen that. While intoxicated, I believe he was high on drugs. I don't think he was drinking alcohol. And somehow managed to get off those charges. Is this the end of Clavicular? I mean, if he
can get off the charges because he's rich and he's white. He has money and he's white, okay? Like I said, when you're white, the sky is the limit. When you're a nigger, the limit is the sky.
He's not able to stream if he's not on YouTube and not on Kick. He was on Livestream with Adin Ross, who says, hey, say nothing, do nothing, continue to film, don't answer any questions, and I'm going to hook you up with some lawyers on Christmas Day, because I have lawyers that, well, they don't mind working.
Look, just hang tight, record, don't say anything, don't answer questions, and just don't say anything.
Oh, shut up. Again, Judge Roy Beans here. Got a lot of armchair lawyers and stuff like that.
Okay, I let it play out, but you need to be recording. Somebody needs to record you.
Even if he were to get off, it's illegal to do a hit and run. When you get into an accident, you drive over somebody, the first thing you should do, 911, yeah, this is an emergency. I accidentally drove over somebody, a crazy fan. I mean, do you guys know how often this is going to happen to people who are excessively famous, people who have more fans than last time? Eventually, people are going to show up to you, and they're going to be excited. And just because you think, oh, I don't like this person, he's annoying me, he approached me, he was too close to me, you can't simply try to end their life over it. And so many people have stated, this has to be fake, it has to be AI, there's no way Clavicular would do this. Have you not been following his story? He's been on steroids since 14, clearly effective his mind, and he himself tells the world, I'm neurodivergent. That is not an excuse. No matter where you fall on this bullshit spectrum, I don't care. If you start doing crazy things, expect crazy results. Florida law requires proportionality and necessity. And so, unfortunately for Clavicular, you can't simply try to end somebody's life because you're annoyed and they jump onto your vehicle. You could argue, hey, what if he scratches you? You might have smudged my vehicle. Well, it's not enough. You have to actually believe that this person could end you right now. And based on the video evidence, does it look like Clavicular was even concerned, was even scared? And so some of the key evidence that would destroy Clavicular's defense. You know, what is it looking like? Why is it that in court, things are going to go very poorly for him? The video recording, the calm.
It doesn't matter. Money talks and bullshit walks here, you know. Clavicular is going to come up with the money so that way he's not getting Kool-Aid around his lips and having a new nickname called maybe Mango or Tasty Freeze or something like that. If you got money, you can get away with it. As like Donald Trump says, I could walk out in the middle of broad daylight and shoot someone on the street and no one would convict me. You know why? Because money is power in this country.
Demeanor. Statements like, I hope he's dead. No attempt to escape safely. No attempt to stop or to call the police. Vehicle used deliberately. He didn't turn to the left. Notice he was to the right. He turns to the right towards him rather than backing up. Could he have not backed away? Hey, this guy's on my vehicle. I'm backing up. I'm going to get around him. Back up and drive away. But when you steer towards somebody, what do you think is going to happen? And so perhaps they'll make an example of Clavicular. Now remember, if he is in fact alive, it still causes serious bodily injury. And so he still could go to jail for a very, very long time. And so essentially what this does in fact...
At this point in time, Steve, we're at a time of place to where YouTube celebrities are celebrities. Social media celebrities are celebrities.
Look like is retaliation. I'm going to get my revenge. Now, if they can prove that that person had a weapon, something in their hand, or that person was
again, no. He's in a Cybertruck. Come on. He did, and obviously he didn't have a gun. He had a cell phone.
Actively trying to enter the vehicle, of which clearly it was not. We've seen it on video. That could have been events. But unfortunately, with video evidence in 4K, it's not looking good for Clavicular. I do believe he's going to be found guilty if charged. I think it's ended his career. Now, you can debate me, you can argue with me and say, no, he isn't all that bad. Does anyone want Clavicular to continue to make these videos? If you do, you're yourself perhaps a psychopath, sociopath, and you like watching dangerous things unfold. If you're a parent...
People do that every day on YouTube. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
And you have a kid and he's watching Clavicular, would you want him to continue to watch this?
Why is your kid even watching? Shouldn't he be doing his homework or something? Yeah, let's not watch Clavicular. Why don't we go play Grand Theft Auto 5 or something, you know?
This person to cheer.
Or whatever episode it's on.
Cheer for him. Rudo, what a great guy. If Clavicular is a great guy, I would hate to meet someone who is not. Now, rather than being on steroids with perhaps messed up Clavicular's mind, you should give the gift that keeps on giving, Turk Builder Max, Turk Platinum.
And this is where the video ends. Folks, he has no clue what he's talking about. He is what a maroon. Folks, Clavicular is going to gather up his money. He's going to pay the dirty white boy he ran over, and then that'll be the end of it. But he's been kicked off Kick. He's been kicked off YouTube. There's not that many places he can go now to be relevant, you know. Simply put, you know, the only people that get longer sentences than black people is white people with ponytails. I kid you not, folks. And this is coming from a person that has been a corrections officer. If you are a white person with a ponytail, please cut it off before going in front of the judge, okay? You will get a longer sentence than a black person. I kid you not. You don't believe me? It is statistically true. White people with the ponytail will get a longer prison sentence than black folks. So if you want a long prison sentence that's longer than a black person, white folks, grow yourself a ponytail. F around and find out. Never go into court with a ponytail, white folks. I'm telling you right now, you will get beyond the Negro sentence. Beyond that. I will tell you that right now. Just keep it real, tell it to you like it is. Do not be that white guy with a ponytail going into court. As far as clavicular is concerned, I mean, if he doesn't pay it off or so forth, well, that sweet young boy is going to be, his new nickname's going to be Tasty Freeze, you know. You're going to be posting from one of those prison phones there, you know. He ain't going to be looks maxing. He's going to be throat maxing. Like, he's going to have 2 or 3 down his throat. I mean, you know, given the fact that would help out his, you know, his skin will get a lot more smoother once they start jizzing all over his face there, you know. Jizz is a moisturizer, but, you know, he ain't going to be Wes Watson's cellmate there. Wes Watson would immediately dismiss him, so I don't worry about Wes Watson being in prison because he's already been in prison. I mean, as big of an idiot he knows the rules. Clavicular, he's young, he's a twink, he puts on makeup, and he's never been in prison. He doesn't know the rules. He just doesn't. But again, Matt, thanks for the donation. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, the key to going into prison is to know the rules, not to stare at someone too long, not to look past someone's bed cell or anything like that. The thing that gets most people in trouble in prison is staring at people. Keep your freaking eyes to yourself. Look down or wear sunglasses like some of these old cats. You ever wonder why some people in prison wear sunglasses? So that way they don't look like they're staring at someone. All right? Nah, I mean, I'm just letting you know.
There's a lot of really crazy statistics I think about almost weekly, because how are people still making these life decisions with these facts, starting with 40 to 50% of marriages ending in divorce? Why would you even sign a marriage contract at this point, especially?
Because you love them, okay? Obviously, you've never been married before, so you don't get it. At least my cousin has been married. I've been married. I'm sure some of you guys have been married. I mean, the thing about someone like Frank Tufano, no one's going to marry a neurotic person like him, you know?
As a guy, like there's no incentive. Just live with the person if you truly love them. Single mothers, kind of crazy. It's something like 20 or 25% of women end up as single mothers. So birth control, not having unprotected sex with a guy you don't trust, very, very important, and that statistic is unfortunately high among black women.
I wouldn't want to have clavicular as a cellmate. You want to know why? Because he would run his mouth, and if I'm his cellmate, they'll beat him up, and then they'll beat me up.
Lesbian
and then I'd have to shank a nigga, and I'm not trying to do that,
Domestic violence is 75%. Kind of nuts. Basically, 3/4 of female-only couples are beating each other up. Another big one, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide. Young men die by suicide 4 times.
Maybe you should get the hint. Oh, I shouldn't have said something like that.
The day of the fight, the bet monitoring system hit us up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they said there's...
The irony of this is that all of these UFC fights are fixed. Whatever makes them the most money at the end of the day via the betting is what will determine the outcome of the...
Betting doesn't make the money. It's tickets. It's concessions. It's pay-per-view buys. Shut up.
Fight. But as soon as someone else tries to fix fights, besides Dana White, besides the UFC, suddenly the FBI has to crack down. That's how these psychopaths are. That's how these people in power are. They believe they're allowed to do whatever they want. They're allowed to fix fights. But as soon as you try to do something or you try to get the upper hand, you get arrested by the police. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's kind of crazy. And he's talking about it in a way as if like he's never done that himself, as if it's a bad thing, as if it's not allowed, which is very hypocritical, very ironic.
The day of the fight,
Dana doesn't have any control over gambling, so he's going to be in a win-win situation always. You know, he sticks to his game plan. You know, he makes a good amount of money. Why chance it with gambling?
One of the most special and unique products we have on Frankie's Naturals is the Cavity Cure Concentrate, which has calcium hydroxyapatite. It's very concentrated in vitamins and minerals, promotes remineralization of the teeth, can be used after toothpaste or on its own. And what you want to do is just put a little extra on the affected area if one specific.
Whatever. I mean, the only thing I'm going to use is toothpaste and mouthwash and floss. That's it. I don't need to put anything else on.
A lot of people message me asking for plastic surgery advice, and because of my circumstances, I can't recommend anyone get plastic surgery. I've had double jaw surgery, I've had more eye surgeries than anyone I know. And because of my circumstances...
Frank's not going to kill anyone with his car. I would expect him to jump off of a tall building in protest of something. But who knows?
Being partially blinded, disabled with chronic migraines that make me want to unalive myself several times a month. Everything I trusted, everything you would assume would be there to help you, whether it's Social Security for disability, the court system for seeking justice from the medical malpractice, they're not there. They're not there. So whatever incentive there is, maybe you're trusting the American courts or that it's more convenient. The one thing
They're not going to violate him initially, but the thing about Clavicular is he has a drug problem. So he'll try to get drugs whenever he can. And eventually what'll happen is he'll get drugs and then he won't pay people back for it.
I can say is do not get surgery in America. Do not get surgery in America. The doctors are less skilled, they are greedy, and the whole system is corrupt. All of these doctors collude together in ways you cannot imagine. If they botch you, they'll send you to all of their buddies until you realize what's going on, draining as much money from you as possible. And yeah, I mean, there are proven cases of doctors gaslighting their patients and intentionally driving them to suicide just to preserve their reputation. It's all about money, and these people have been trained based on God knows how many hundreds, if not thousands of years of experience. These plastic surgeons have been trained by thousands of years of experience how to manipulate and extract as much money from people as possible while preserving their reputation. Everything you see on Google is fake. It's fabricated. Their before and after pictures, their skill level, their medical training, I wouldn't trust any of it. And is some of that going...
This is a CO2 laser, which targets water to resurface.
The most hypocritical bullshit ever is that a dermatologist will say that this is okay and this is healthy, and then go and say that the sun is bad for you or that tanning beds are dangerous, when both are doing the same thing. They are damaging the skin and recycling it. And if anything, this laser is way more damaging and way more dangerous and has a much higher risk of scarring than the sun or a solar bed, tanning bed will ever do. If someone is going to, like, this should not be a procedure. But now that dermatologists can make money off of a CO2 laser, they're promoting it. Save your money, save the pain, go get some sun, go in a tanning bed. You'll get the same results in a much healthier way.
Paul is a real estate novelist who never had.
So that video comparing CO2 lasers to the sun was in my drafts for a while, and I just came across this actual example, so I decided to post it.
They're probably right. It's not going to be dropped. He's just going to pay off the person he ran over, give him a little bit of money, and that'll be the end of it. But I'm just giving a scenario as far as if that doesn't happen, you know.
And this girl didn't make it clear in her video that her face...
I mean, it's all right because he's white, so, I mean... Yeah, like I said there, even a black person with a little bit of money can get off from doing something like that.
This was horrifically damaged, and you should not be getting this laser procedure under any circumstance. And her point of view is, oh, just make sure you're person certified and that you go to a good place, as if it's just not this insanely unsafe thing to do compared to getting some sun, naturally recycling your skin in a way. And even with like the most horrific sunburn you can get, you will not have a grid pattern on your face almost 2 months after you get it. Also, who knows, God knows how much this stuff costs, you know. Such a ripoff.
Yeah, the thing about it is clavicular comes from money, so he's actually got money. He had money beforehand. Otherwise, you know, but he didn't come from some poor house, obviously. Let's see how his house is going.
I'm in a lot of pain, so I haven't been able to work on the house anymore, but I'll show you guys how we made it radiation proof using wire mesh.
Oh, wow. Does that mean that you took all the wires out of your house, you moron?
And aluminum metal siding and roofing. It's definitely overkill. I bet if we just did aluminum siding, it would have been radiation proof, but we added 3 inches of insulation to the outside of the house because the house wasn't insulated. And under that, there's 2 layers of wire mesh because metal is what blocks radiation. And I also did it on the roof, which is complete overkill. So after putting the ice and water and tarp, there's layers of aluminum mesh. That's actually black aluminum mesh, and that's regular aluminum mesh. Definitely over $3,000 in just aluminum mesh, and that doesn't include the staples and like the few staple guns we went through to adhere it to the house. So I'll probably do a video on how to do this inside, but you're basically gonna staple the mesh to your walls and plaster over it, which is a whole different deal for like an apartment.
My home is one of the most insulated houses there, with plenty of layers of everything, and it's sealed in. 5G is still going to get in. You want to know why? You would have to make your home practically airtight there, which is just impossible. You open up a door, 5G is going to get in there. It's going to get you, you know. But it's actually harmless. It just is. But I'm going to smoke my cigar a little bit, and then we'll start the video, starting, of course, with John Bravo. So get your questions in. Want to make a donation, you can. Smash the like button. Blah, 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 yakety smackety. Oh boy. I miss him too. I think everyone does. It's been a whole year too. Well, these aren't tinted glasses. My other glasses are the first ones I've had in a while that weren't transition lenses. Oh, everyone knows about Big Lenny. Oh, speaking of which, Ryan told me that Cuban unbanned everyone. Except me, of course. Because he fears the Great One. But that's okay. No one wants to go on his non-alpha credentialed website live stream anyway. Why is he wearing tactical gear for? He doesn't know what tactical stuff means. Simple-minded motherfucker. I mean, let's face it, you know, I mean, the thing about it is I've worn actual tactical gear. The last time I wore tactical gear was when I was doing a cell extraction in jail, okay? Cuban can go put on all the tactical gear he wants. But I put on tactical gear for a real job, for real reasons. That is alpha credentials. You see, I don't have to show off my medals or any of the other stuff I got. I don't have to show that off, folks. I got nothing to prove. I know where I've been, okay? The one thing you folks have to remember how should I word this? The thing about it is you got to get to the point to where your name and your brand becomes more valuable than anything that you could purchase. That's Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. You see, I don't need to buy a Rolex watch. You want to know why? Because I'm Vince Goodrum, all right? I don't need a $200,000 car. Why? Because I'm Vince Goodrum. Nah, I mean, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, he says the same thing. Why? Because he's Ocho. You know what I mean? I put my frugality over flashiness, folks. You know, I can get cheek in my, even when I was driving around a busted up 1988 Ford Escort hatchback, I was still getting cheek, all right? The best part about a hatchback, folks, is you can fold down the back seat and put a little inflatable mattress, and you can get busy like a bee. Bzzz. You gotta prioritize your name and reputation, folks. That's real value. You don't have to sell it or anything. All right? People think because you put on a Rolex that you have some entitled wealth. The truth of the matter is Rolex is a poor man's watch at this point in time. It's a watch that poor people think makes them rich. What are wealthy people wearing? they're either wearing two sides of the spectrum. Most of them are on the lower end of the spectrum. You got Eminem. You got people like John Mayer. You got Bill Gates. They're wearing Casio G-Shocks. Bill Gates wears a Casio Duro. Obama wore he had a $300 watch. He was gifted his Rolex, but his main watch he wears is like $300. It was given to him by a Secret Service person. Heck, President Boris Johnson went to a $400 million wedding in Saudi Arabia, and he was wearing a Secondo watch. That is a $40 watch, folks. Nobody's going to say anything about Bill Gates because Bill Gates is Bill Gates. He has a name and he has a reputation. Because of that, he doesn't have to show off with a Rolex. He could walk around with a Casio Duro and people are going to know he's rich because he's Bill Gates. Know what I mean? You got that side of the spectrum to where they know who they are. And then you got the other side of the spectrum that truly wears Richard Mille, or I call him Richard Mille, but I know it's pronounced differently. Vacheron watches and stuff. IWCs and stuff like that. That's all you need, Mintnator, is a Timex. I mean, and you guys see the watches I wear. My favorite go-to watch is a Casio, not a Casio, but it's an Orient Bambino watch. And folks, an Orient Bambino watch is probably one of the nicest watches out there. Whoa, good lordy. Oh, these watches have gone up. Damn. You know, I bought my watch a few years ago, and it was like $139, $149. Now it's like $250. But still, even $250, that's not too expensive. I guess I gained value with my watch here. But I did get another watch, actually. So, this is the watch I have coming in. Let me put it up. Let me get a bigger picture of it. See, this is the watch I have coming in, basically. One of these. Because, you see, I need a watch to where I know what time it is in Bangladesh and these other countries so I can work with my contractors, such as my boy in Bangladesh. So I have this watch coming, actually. Folks, this is what you need. This is a $30 watch. You don't need nothing fancy. You can get a $20 F91W watch. I can't really tell. The truth of the matter is that the president doesn't have much control over inflation per se. Definitely can yell at people. What's up, Chuck E. Cheese? Like I said before, you can wear this watch and you'll get some cheek, alright? As long as you got a watch on of any type, And every man should have a watch. All of you fellow piss troopers, you shouldn't go out the door without having a watch. You should feel naked without having a watch. It's not about telling the time, folks. And it's very important to wear a watch at a job interview because it tells the interviewer that you're always on time. That ain't too bad of a watch neither. Merry Christmas to you, Chuck E. Cheese. You better stay. Don't get arrested again this year. I'm telling you. You've had a bad year, Chuck E. Cheese, getting arrested and everything. At Chuck E. Cheese? Jeez. I think the economy, I'll be honest with you, the economy and inflation has gone up, but I've realized over this past year that I've spent money on things that I really didn't spend money on, that I shouldn't have, where I could have gotten it a lot less, such as my web servers and stuff. Now that I have the big, beautiful server, the big, beautiful AI programs and stuff. No longer using Mach 3s, I'm using a King Gillette. Saving money on razors and stuff. That's good to hear, Chuck E. Cheese. Keep your hands off other people's credit cards. I'll cut you. But one of the biggest reasons why people don't have money is because of convenience. People rely, that's what I found out this year, that I relied too much on convenience. To where my mindset was, if I go and have something else done for me, that gives me more time to work on other projects. Not anymore. That and I didn't embrace the AI era until this year. Yep, Centra AI and Cody AI to run my web servers. But I still gotta have my boy in India and my boy in Bangladesh every once in a while. No, Chuck E. Cheese, I use a King Gillette now. Yeah, we're going to play that. That's going to be the first video we're going to play. So I wear a King Gillette now there, Chuck E. Cheese. That's what I use to shave from now on with. And I use platinum blades with mine. A lot less expensive, and I get a much closer shave, actually, Chuck E. Cheese. That was one of the things I had to learn. Pugman, what's up? Y'all say hey to Pugman. Happy holidays to you, brother. What's different for me, Pugman, with this, I actually enjoy shaving now with it. It's very relaxing to shave with a safety razor because you got to take a little bit of extra time to enjoy it. You know, the shaving cream, I mean, sometimes I heat it up a little bit, moisturize the face. It's very relaxing to use a safety razor. I forgot how nice it was. Now I was spending a lot of money on Mach 3s. I just really felt the need to go back. It was not just, it was to save money, but I'm gonna shave with that for the, you know. Now I still keep my Mach 3s to shave my head, but that's gonna change too. I like doing behind the neck pull downs. They're good for the back. They're quick pump. I mean, behind the back neck pull downs, it's good for people, and front ones, it's good for people who can't do pull-ups. That's just my opinion. If you're not really good at doing pull-ups, it's a perfect workout. And I do behind the back pull-ups on my Total Trainer. It works a little bit differently, but the movement is still the same. But I mean, folks, you can... The thing about it is you can get stuff like this for like $10. And get platinum razors and you'll be just perfectly fine just as well. But I chose a King Gillette razor instead. But yeah, I enjoy shaving better. Oh yeah, and it gives a much better shave too. I have to take 2 passes for mine. And my hair grows a lot more evenly. With the Mach 3, it shaved under the skin. But with this, you can't shave under the skin with it. So I'm going to start videos in a couple minutes because I want to finish my cigar a little bit. So get your questions in. I mean, I also use my Amex points more. I just have a different outlook on things. I don't eat out anymore. I'll eat at home. And then I'll go out and have a nice drink. And with that, I save about 40 or 50 bucks. Woke Gillette ad? Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I wouldn't call it woke. It was just a little bit too progressive.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie. Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
That's one of them. I think there was another one. See, I actually like that video. I like that commercial. But I wouldn't consider it woke. It's just that companies that sell razors and stuff like that should stay out of politics. I get the message, but it's just the wrong people that are giving messages. That's what happened to Budweiser, you know. And Budweiser, that whole thing was blown out of proportion. They sent a tranny a case of beer and people just go crazy. I'm like, seriously. I mean, here's the thing, folks. A gay bar is still a bar, folks. When I go into a gay bar, you know, they don't serve fruity cocktails. Well, they do, but they also serve them at regular bars. And I go into what used to be Scandals, they actually closed it down. It's gone. Dylan Mulvaney. When I went into Scandals, I didn't order. There wasn't some fancy specialized gay drink or anything. They sold $1 Budweisers and stuff. They sold Bud. They sold Coors Light, Miller High Life. It's a bar, folks. The drinks that you could find at a gay bar, you can find at any other bar. You want to know why? Because it's a bar. All right? No different. The only thing you have is a bunch of guys dancing around and a bunch of bull dykes up there just staring angrily at people like. Which reminds me of a little story. I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't mess with big lesbians here, okay? So, in Greenville, there used to be a lesbian bar called the Treehouse. And one of my lesbian friends wanted to come over, and it's like, hey, you want to come with me there, Melvin? Well, like I said, or Mel. At the time, that's what she called him, Melly Mel. I'm like, all right, I'll go to the Treehouse. So we went to the Treehouse, and all I said was hey to this one girl, and her big ass lesbian boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever she was built like a freaking 18-wheeler, picked me up and slammed me. And then she apologized to me. I'm like, I didn't mean that. I thought you were hitting on my girlfriend. I'm like, no. But she picked me up and slammed me. And folks, I'm a pretty big guy. This was a bigger woman. I mean, shoot, she must like that taco so much that she's willing to go and slam it. And this is a big white woman too, big one. I swear to God, she picked me up, scoop slammed me like you see on the WWE. There went and scoop slammed me just like that, all because she thought I was hitting on her girl, and I wasn't. I just said hey to her, like waved the hand like this here. You know, maybe if I did it like this here, she would have known I was gay or something. I don't know. But yeah, the treehouse, it wasn't really a club or anything. It was just it was a really tiny bar. It was on Pleasantburg Drive. It was in a commercial area, so it was kind of clean actually. Because it was like in a business type district there per se. But yeah, Gillette shouldn't have made that commercial simply because it's not a commercial that they should be making. It's sort of like this here.
A new ad by a shaving company marks the man's first shave. For Samson Brown from Toronto, the moment is extra special.
I always knew I was different. I didn't know that there was a term for the type of person that I was. I went into my transition just wanting to be happy. I'm glad I'm at the point where I'm able to shave. So
the video shows us Brown with his dad learning to shave. The clip posted on Gillette's Facebook page is gaining overwhelming support. Many commenters praising the ad's inclusivity and support of the LGBTQ2 community.
You see, nobody raised a stink about that. It's just that in this day and age, everything has to be controversial. The people that complain about other people being snowflakes are being snowflakes about stuff like that, you know. By the way, that's a trans man, by the way. And one thing I try to tell my trans men friends is you gotta shave, okay? And some of them don't like the shave because they want to look as manly as possible. And I sometimes have to show them how to properly do it, you know? I look at this man and look at yourself. If you don't look like him or look like me, you're not doing it right. It's like tans, you know? Sometimes the great one has to train them to, you know, if you're going to be a trans woman, you're going to look like a woman for me. You're going to get fucked like a woman too. Legs up across the, you know, you're going to take it like a woman, whether you like it or not. But you will like it. You'll like it, love it, want more of it. As we used to say in the Army. Well, technically it's 10-10-10. Somehow Lenny said it like tan, but either way it works. Most men already know right from wrong and don't identify with bad men. It's unneeded to tell men what they should be like. I agree with you on that, Chuck E. Cheese. And I don't know why Gillette's not the people that should be putting out commercials like that. You should shave rate. You should talk about shaving and that's it. I mean, don't delve yourself into social issues. There's plenty of organizations that do that type of stuff already. Don't mess up the formula. And I mean, come on, Cracker Barrel. A lot of the stuff there, Chuck E. Cheese is blown out of proportion, especially a Cracker Barrel. They get upset because they changed the logo and took off Uncle Herschel. Herschel. I mean, come on, seriously? And they didn't really do it. They were just doing it for new places that were in urban areas in order to attract the urban crowd. They weren't doing it in places like here in South Carolina or anything like that. But sometimes, you know, when it comes to me selling medical supplies, so let me give you a demonstration here, okay? I'm going to show you a prime example. This here is my grocery website. Now, I have changed the picture thanks to my big, beautiful AI. And one of my friends asked me, why do you have white people on my, why do you have white people on the front of my website for, instead of, why don't you be inclusive and put some black people in there? It's quite simple, folks. This is my base of customers. These are the customers that buy from an organic store such as Caliber Grocers, okay? That's my audience. That's the majority of who buys it. I have hardly any black people buying my stuff, and I don't need to look at them. I can tell just by the name of the person, you know. I can tell by the name of the person as far as the what race they are, okay? It's quite simple. I mean, I'm selling organic groceries. Nothing fancy here, okay? Like I said, I do what's called sticking to the formula. And of course, this site is one that I'm working on that's almost finished. Again, core audience, all right? Very, very simple. All right? Why would I go and put pictures of people who don't buy my stuff anyway to begin with? And I'm not saying that just because I'm black. I'm just a realist on things. When you're selling a product, you want to cater to your audience. You want to cater to the people who are the most likely to buy your stuff, okay? Non-negotiable. That's how business works, all right? But folks, I'm going to take a little piss and we're going to get started with videos here, okay? I'll be right back. So in terms of things, the reason why I do have white people on my websites for groceries is that's because that's who buys my products. Okay, so I'm going to put the pictures of people who buy my products there. I sell products. I don't sell social issues. You can't make money selling social issues, okay? It just doesn't work. You're supposed to sell products, not social equality, period. Plus, it's a lot more expensive to get black stock image anyway.
I think I've always been a polar bear my whole...
Oh, snap. Accidentally played this one first, but we can do this.
I think I've always been a polar bear my whole life, ever since I was born.
A beautiful sunny Sunday in Coney Island, the beach inexplicably empty except for just a handful of polar bear bathers.
Come with us to Coney Island, our happiness to share.
Why would you want to do it?
Because I feel great and healthy. It's like recharging my battery for the whole week. I like when I come out of the water. I feel great. I feel like, you know, see, the water is warm.
Sort of like when you stop hitting your head?
Right, something like that, yeah.
Well, I get very few colds, maybe one every 3 or 4 years.
What does your doctor say?
Says I'm crazy.
I think I've always been a polar bear my whole life, ever since I was born.
I'll tell you right now, I want to put my face in front of those tits and like, brisk. I know why you put this video up here, because you wanted to see those titties. And I can't blame you neither.
So that's a brief explanation as to why they're out here. It's a brisk walk across the Coney Island beach, and the polar bears go into the water. All right, how's the water?
Beautiful. The water's great. It's rather warm yet. I think about 40 degrees. We expect it to be about 30 to enjoy it.
We expect to be coldest, but we thought it was really hot for a day like today.
Hot water, nice, healthy. Anybody can go cool water, can be young.
So that's it. They're out of the water now, jogging up and down the beach. And the polar bears point out that really the tough part is standing out in the cold air, because they say the water is really warmer than the air. That's what they say. At Coney Island, Will Spence, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
That's some strong white folks there, that's for sure. I ain't getting in no damn water. You honkies can do that stuff. Not this nigga. All right, folks, the moment of truth. We're going to play the John Bravo biddy. It's not just marketing class. It's just common sense, you know. You cater to the people who buy your products, okay? You don't try to... You being a social justice warrior and running a business don't mix, all right? It just doesn't.
Where's our car? It's all the way down. Okay. Hey, ours is down the end. All right, I'll catch you later, bro.
Cookie files!
What's wrong with you?
Release the cookie files, yeah! Get to your whip.
Yo, Marky. These guys right now.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not gonna work.
Let me see what whip they're driving, and I'm gonna get. Yeah.
Oh my God. He was on the phone. What did he do? Run over someone in a cyber truck? You can't do that. That thing's a tank. This is some serious shit. You guys know Clap, right? That asshole who does all that crazy, dangerous shit to himself, even puts on a woman's makeup to make himself better looking. In the meantime, he doesn't even fucking need it. And then he goes and teaches that shit to other kids. You guys remember that piece of shit, right? Well, now he's in some serious shit because he had this little troll-looking doll motherfucker stalking the shit out of him.
How's this gonna happen?
Little troll-looking doll motherfucker stalking.
Jesus Christ, you are one ugly motherfucker.
The shit out of him.
How's this gonna happen?
Chill.
What's up with it? Huh?
And you know what ended up happening? He ran him over with this piece of shit cyber truck. Wait until I show you this shit. You're not gonna believe it.
What'd you do?
Last week, he thought I couldn't do it back to him. He thinks he's gonna ego me. It's all good. I respect Jack Doherty. But Victor spit a coke.
Oh, no surprise, Jack Doherty and his nigger security guard with him.
Coca-Cola can and got 3 million views off me.
Wait, why did he steal a Coca-Cola can?
For fun.
Wait, why? Why would he just do that to you, though?
Ask him. Why
Like, he just randomly came up to you and put a Coke on your head?
3 million views.
Well, how long ago?
3 days ago.
But why? Why would he just do that, though, randomly?
Because he's a f***ing...
Did you do anything to him, though?
Hell nah.
Oh.
So first, I think it's important for people to understand the backstory behind this all, because I've seen so many people making videos, but they tell you like 20% of the story. And if you don't know the full story, how are you going to make a proper judgment? So this is how it all started. So since Clav first started streaming, okay, his first few streams, there was this little weirdo, troll-looking asshole, right? That was following him around all over. And this guy's known in the community for sniping people's streams all the time to bring attention on himself because he can't get attention on his own. So he saw Clav, start popping off, bring attention on himself because he can't.
Hey, Ryan, remember what I stated about the crazier you are, the bigger attempts you get? I mean, I was explaining how you can get to 1 million subscribers by being a freaking weirdo. This is one of the ways.
Can't get attention on his own. So he saw Clav, start popping off online. Everyone's making videos. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to start following this asshole around to try to get attention from him. So he first started showing up in one of his first streams. Clav was sitting there at a restaurant, and this asshole was coming around screaming some bullshit at him.
People are so weird, bro. Like, come on, bro.
And then it gets worse, because that little bitch, he found out where Clav was living, right? He got his address. He shows up to his house. Clav comes out like Rambo with the gun, except a little bitch version of Rambo with the way he's waving it around like he's never touched a gun before to scare the shit out of him.
Huh? How is this gonna happen? Chill. Going. Huh? Huh? What's up? What's up with it? What's up with it? Huh? Let's go. Let's go right now. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Come back. Come back. Huh?
Who is that anyway?
Huh?
Comes out like...
Hold on. Sorry, I gotta play this again. I missed that part. I was putting out my cigar.
So weird, bro. Like, come on, bro.
And then it gets worse, because that little bitch, he found out where Clav was living, right? He got his address. He shows up to his house. Clav comes out like Rambo with the gun, except a little bitch version of Rambo with the way he's waving it around like he's never touched a gun before to scare the shit out of him.
Huh? How is this gonna happen? Chill. Going. Huh? Huh? What's up? What's up with it? What's up with it? Huh? Let's go. Let's go right now. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Come back. Come back. Huh?
And then after that, Clav goes...
My God. That's some drugs right there. That's straight meth right there. I didn't realize he did that stuff. I mean, that's crazy.
Goes to the mall, he's walking around, who knows what he's shopping for, right? And that little bitch, again, he's there screaming some bullshit at him, and I still don't understand a word this piece of shit is saying.
I got the biggest clip tonight. Clavicular report, $2.2 million. I already signed my Kodak Black. I bought everyone in Miami. I'm merching. The biggest clip. God, you don't want to do this.
And then, you remember Neon? You know, that little bitch? He goes with Clav and he takes him to this art, presentation. I don't know what these weirdos are doing over there. Isn't that for like high-end people? Well, they're there, and lo and behold, the little troll doll is there again, screaming some bullshit again.
This little guy.
Bitch ass nigga. Just fuck that, kid. What's wrong with you, nigga? What's wrong with you?
So as you guys can see, anytime, anywhere Clav goes, this asshole's there fucking with them. Okay, and that brings us to what happened that night in that cyber truck. Clav is, at a carnival, Christmas Eve, I think it was. That's when I found out about it. I didn't want to film nothing that day. He's at the carnival, and he's with his girlfriend. They're playing games, trying to win prizes. I used to love that basketball one. Anyway, he's there trying to mind his business, and that little bitch comes and f***s with him again with this other butt buddy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, bro.
Release the cookie files, cookie files! Release the cookie files! Release the cookie files! You know what I'm
Release the
talking
cookie files!
about? I'm telling you! In Miami! Release the cookie files!
Anything to get views these days. This is what I'm talking about, Ryan. I've told you guys about this for a long time about stuff like this. You got to be being an attention whore just to get views.
You see what happened with your buddy Ed Matthews?
What happened?
Release the cookie file. That's all you want to know. Release it.
Tell them about the N-word. Said it today.
Oh yeah, I have to check you. Why do you think calling black people the is bad?
You can't say that.
How you feel about that? You can't say that, bro. You can't call us. We work hard. We work hard for our moms. Don't call us.
And then after that, Clap was like, you know what? F*** this. I'm going home. You know, this asshole ruined the stream again. But I want you to pay attention here at this clip, because as Clap is walking, look what he says to his friend about the little bitch.
I'm not sure where we're at. Where's our car? It's all the way down. Okay. Yeah, ours is down the end. All right, I'll catch you later, bro.
Cookie files!
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Release the fucking cookie files, yeah!
Well, now I see why he didn't care about running him over. Jeez.
Yo, Marky. These guys right now.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not gonna work.
Let me see what whip they're driving, and I'm gonna get.
So you even talking about it, like begging them to do it. So trust me, bro. Your best course of action is just get in your whip and get the fuck out.
Yeah, I know the best course of action, but I want to kill each and every one of these guys.
In GTA.
So then Clab gets to his car, him and his girlfriend and his other friend, they get in it, the Cybertruck. I hate those things, okay? He gets in, he locks the door, they're about to leave. The little bitch comes and starts jumping on his hood. Clab gets mad, and he does what you're about to see.
Hold this guy over here.
Oh my fucking
Start driving with this guy. Drive.
Oh my fucking. Oh my god! You probably just ran him over. Oh my god. Oh my god. Off the car. He was on the car.
Oh my god. Is he dead?
I don't know.
Hopefully.
So this is my thing, okay? And if this happened to me, and I'm gonna say first of all, I would never let shit like this, an asshole showing up to my house with all my streams, everything interrupting my life. I would never let it get this far, okay? Because so it would have never gotten to here. But let's just say it did. First of all, I love my cars. If I get a scratch on my car, I'm not sleeping at night, right? Some asshole who's been stalking me, fucking with me, comes and throws himself on my hood. What do you think I'm gonna do? Okay? And I'm not telling you this is the right thing to do, but me personally, I would get out of the car and slap the shit out of him, and I promise you he's never gonna fuck with me again. And I don't care if I'm gonna go to jail for it. Now, again, that's what I would do, and I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But now,
He still shouldn't have hit him, but at this point in time, it changes the perspective of anything. Clav ain't going to prison now. I didn't even realize this guy was a stalker, so... And juries don't really like stalkers too much, so... He'll still have to pay maybe a little bit of money, but probably not, actually, so... He ain't going to prison.
Now, let's look what Clav did. Clav gets in that car, you know, the guy jumping on his hood. He could have reversed or turned away, but no. You know, he saw him and he decided to hit the gas and hit the asshole. And then afterward, you know, we heard what he said, You guys heard what he said when he was walking, so obviously, we're not stupid. He wanted to fuck the guy up. And reports came out, right after. The idiot, he's not dead, but he is critically injured, and I think that has an effect on what's going to happen here. And the cops, after this all went down, they were on the scene and they spoke to some people, security guards, and this is what they had to say.
Oh man, come on, bro. He the good guy.
He is?
The motherfucker on the ground, the bad guy. He did what he was supposed to, run his motherfucking ass off.
Okay, all right.
So brother say,
Yeah. So the cops, again, they spoke to the security. They looked at what video was available to them. I'm not sure if they saw, probably didn't see the things he was saying on the stream. They made a decision to let him go because Florida's a stand your ground state. And they didn't arrest him. However, okay, now as we saw in the Wes Watson case, arrests don't happen in Florida right away. I'm sure in a lot of other states it doesn't either. They're going to go back. They're going to look at everything, probably watch all the footage that's available, and then they can make an arrest, a couple months later if they felt that they wanted to. So I want to hear, what you guys have to say. I know the audience, I know you guys are going to be divided because when I posted this shit on Instagram, everyone had a different feeling, was it self-defense? Did he do the proper thing? What could have he done differently? Is he going to get fucked? So you guys let me know, and again.
Well, that actually changes the perspective. I still stand by the whole thing that where he's going to do some time there regardless. But the time that he's probably going to do is not that much. Maybe at most 30 to 60 days. But he's still going to do some time in a jail or so forth. Like I said, juries, they really don't like stalkers. And all of that stuff that he was pulling, throwing water, harassing him, showing up at his doorstep. You see, DAs, judges, and juries don't reward people who commit bad behavior that precipitate events such as this here. He still shouldn't have ran him over, though. If he's critically injured, I mean, this isn't... maybe he's now learned his lesson, Don't try to do everything on the internet for clout, for views, and for stuff like this. Otherwise, you'll end up like this. And Ryan, again, this is exactly what I was talking about, But I didn't realize how much harassment... It doesn't really so much change the case as far as things are concerned, but yeah,
Big Chick Night was good, Daddy. When you gonna make some more music for us, bro? Really? Yeah. All right, man. Let's be vamping and stuff, man. Hold up. Let me ask you, as a cigar aficionado, can you give me any recommendations on a good cigar?
Only Cubans.
Only Cubans? Yeah. Ain't they illegal eagles?
Everything.
They're no longer really illegal. At some point in time, this was 2 years ago. This is when Biden was still in office there, to where you can get a certain amount of Cubans at one time.
This is jury.
He's critically injured there, Matthew. He ain't gonna be doing anything for a while. For a very long time. That's a little guy, and he got ran over by a 2-ton truck, so yeah, he's fucked up he's pretty fucked up pretty badly.
You wanna go to the docks? The dock is over here, Daddy.
I'm looking for the dock. Daddy.
Oh, pardon me.
So you know, that shit, though, that bullshit.
Oh, no problem.
I never heard a nigga call another nigga daddy.
Oh, nah, I'm not from here. I'm just saying I'm from New York. Okay. It's a different slang. It's just...
Hold on, why don't you check y'all shit on, though, if I call somebody over here?
Oh, no problem, bro.
Hold on, no trip.
Suge was pretty nice that day, and stuff. I think he got mad with the daddy thing. I mean, and, if this was 1980 or 90, when you're calling people daddy-o and stuff, that wouldn't have been an issue. But, it's 2023 at that time. You don't call anyone daddy. It did, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's a 2-ton truck, and that's a little guy right there. You know, that's a very little guy.
Today, the car wizard changes his official stance on the Buick LeSabre 3800. Let's find.
That's not LeSabre, it's LeSabre.
Find out what changed. Let's get started. This is a 2002 Buick LeSabre.
Now, I watch his channel a lot. It's a pretty good one there. You can learn a lot about cars.
That had some serious brake issues. The pedal was going to the floor. We're going to show you what we found and how it was fixed. But I definitely want to talk to you guys today about the LeSabre. I've been pushing it in the past a lot for being a reliable family car, a cheap alternative to a lot of other cars that last many, many hundreds of thousands of miles. But age catches up to everything. Let's take a look around this Buick LeSabre, and we're going to talk about why I changed my mind and why this thing broke. Everybody has a grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, somebody that's had one of these or currently has one of these. They made millions of them. It's a very, very iconic front end because they were everywhere at one point. This one's dirty. It's a high school kid's car, and it is not a museum piece. It wasn't intended to be. There's some rust in front of the rear wheel there. It's a dirty school car. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here is the mighty, iconic Buick 3800.
That is a dirty.
They are bulletproof. They can last 400,000 or 500,000 miles. They are one of the best engines that General Motors ever made. I wish they still made them. Unfortunately, they don't. They moved to the 3.6, which for a number of years was a piece of trash engine, but it seems like they may have fixed that. We'll do another video in the future on that, but these are easy to work on. The parts are cheap. And let me show you some of the common failure points that you definitely want to look at if you're looking to buy one of these. So you can see this elbow here I'm touching with my screwdriver. It's currently metal. It's been replaced. There's a second one underneath the alternator. Those are little coolant elbows. Those came from the factory as black plastic. Very chintzy, very cheap, and it was very common for those to crack or break and just spray coolant everywhere. A company called Dorman actually came out with upgrades that are metal pipes or metal elbows. This one's had it done, you can see. And once you replace the metal ones, that problem's gone. It doesn't do that anymore. Another issue they had is with the EGR pipe underneath the intake manifold. In this area underneath the EGR pipe would actually burn a hole through the plastic and cause some serious running issues. A new intake manifold will solve that. Another common issue is long cranking as they get aged.
This is a pretty long video, so we're going to speed it up a little bit.
On them, and what causes that is the fuel pressure regulator. Right here, all you have to do is remove this little hose here, and if fuel comes out, then you know it's time for a new one. That's what causes the long cranking. Gas is getting into the intake manifold. Getting all three of those done will probably be less than $1,000, maybe even $800 or $700. It depends on what shop you go to, but it's not stupid, crazy expensive. There's many other little things we could go on for hours about little knick-knack things that you want to look at, but those are some of the major failures that happen, which really they don't happen that much, but the core of the engine is pretty much bulletproof. But just like the most famed athletes of our history, even age catches up to them. The same is happening to these cars. These cars are getting to be over 20 years old. Most of them have 150 to 250, possibly 300,000 miles on them by now. This one's no exception. Mrs. Wizard's going to take you guys through the interior and show you how age is caught up with it and show how many miles are on this one.
There you have it, 213,394 miles. Just a few miles on this thing, but everything's looking good there at least. I'm not going to be so certain when we move up, but let's turn the key off. So move up, well, it's not a camel, let me tell you that. There is a hump up there. It's, oh gosh, my fingers have disappeared behind it. Yeah, this is peeled off, so we don't have a crack, we don't have foam spilling out, we just have this lovely camel hump in the dash. Oh, and, whew, you can actually see there's a...
Mine's out there slightly, but I can easily glue that down.
We always talk
It ain't out like that, but yeah.
about you never really see it too much, but there you go. Yeah, that's peeled back nicely. Darn it, the problem with foam is that you can't glue it back down to it. It doesn't work. But it does say it is the LeSabre Limited by Buick in the faux wood trim. But looking nice. I like that they have modernized their radio with a cassette player that connects with their adapted.
And I have a flat screen radio there with Bluetooth. I took that out and replaced that.
Ports there from an aux port to a USB-C. I guess it worked.
Oh, my car is working great there, Pugman. Once I took the transmission out, it basically runs like a new car. I mean, basically speaking, it really is a new car. And because mine only had 130,000 miles, I'll have the car for a very long time. I got to get the front windows fixed on it, but that's going to be cheap to do.
Works. Very simple controls for our HVAC system. As we move down, we can see that they have added a couple of ports there to charge and to connect that radio. As we move back, we do have an armrest that can raise, so this can seat 6 people. Not so sure if you'd want to be in that middle spot, but it'll be a little tight. See a little bit of wear here. See an elbow mark here. We've got a few crud and crumbles in there in the cup holder. Move here to our center console area. We've got another port there with a lightning cable in it and a small fortune and change. As we move to the passenger seat, you'll see that it is leather and it's actually looking pretty decent. The driver's side does have a little bit more wear to it with a few little spots that are definitely starting to show a few seams that are broken. But our door card is in nice condition, have more of that faux wood that does, wrap around to that door card. And we can see that there is the nice heated seat button as well. So that does add a nice creature comfort to the car. Like so many cars, the back seat is very minimally used, unless it is truly a family car. And I'm kind of seeing that.
I don't have leather seats. I have, the regular cotton seats here. So
that's the case here. The back seat is looking good. But as we move up, we have a very interestingly designed, almost looks like what you would see on the mattress with the dimpling on it. And if you look there, those are T-pins holding up that headliner. So I guess it works. It's holding them up, but it definitely looks like it's sort of a mattress. Back at our steering wheel, and it's looking pretty good. Got some wear down here at the bottom, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. It's not peeling apart. The leather's not separating. It doesn't have to have a steering wheel cover on it. So, okay, it's holding up better than the dash with the camel hump on it. So enough of this interior talk. Let's see what's going on underneath of this thing.
We'll go ahead and do our under-car inspection. Junior Mint did do a road test, and he noticed the front end felt a little wallowy, like there's some play in the steering, and I kind of have an idea what it could be from, again, age. So here we are in our radiator area. I do see something, maybe he ran over something in the road or something got on here, but it's nothing currently leaking in this area. Here's our engine oil pan and transmission pan. Again, very happy to see that it's dry. Another area that you can see leaks is these transmission cooler fittings. They will drip transmission fluid out, and you can actually have a leak there, but they're fine right now. Let's go ahead and check these wheels out. The brakes are about 50 to 60% remaining. The rotors look fine. Sway bar links are okay. CV boots are good. But one thing we do notice, if we look through here, the rubber in this control arm on the lower control arm bushing is starting to crack, and if we look at the other side, you can see my screwdriver goes all the way through. The rubber has completely separated. It's ripped in half. That gives a lot of play on the front end of these control arms for the wheels to wallow around and do this. So when you steer, there's a delayed reaction, and it feels like it's kind of wallowing on the road. So now we know it needs lower control arms for sure. Our brakes, again, are about 50 to 60%. The boots are good. The struts are good. Sway bar links are good, and luckily nothing loose other than this control arm. Here's our catalytic converter. Everything looks intact. Nothing's been cut off. I have a little shield here hiding or protecting our oxygen sensor. This is a catalyst monitor O2 sensor. Here's our rear resonator style muffler. This I don't like to see. Here's our charcoal canister, and if you were to scrape along a log in the road or something, kind of debris, then come around and just rip this thing to pieces. But I don't see a whole lot of it, so luckily it's not been an issue. Here's our exhaust. And then here's our fuel tank. Again, if we have to remove the fuel tank, you have to pull the whole exhaust out and let it hang or completely remove it just to get this thing out. This has had shocks put on because one of the other common issues on the LeSabres is the air ride suspension is 90% of the time completely blown out. These boots will be blown out, and usually the shock itself is dead as well, but looks like they've had that replaced not too long ago. Brakes are about 70% remaining. It looked good, nothing loose. Nice shock strut over here. Brakes are 60 to 70% on the back, nothing loose. Sway bar links are good, and these control arm bushings are good in the back. Let's check those date codes on the tires. 45th week of 2022, so they're only a few years old and they've got some good tread on them, so tires are not an issue. Let's get this thing back on the ground. So we figured out the loose steering, and it was the lower control arms, the bushings are shot. So we know what's going to solve that. As far as the brakes, when it came in, the brakes would almost go to the floor. It would stop, but almost wouldn't. We checked all the hoses and lines and master cylinder. We checked for leaks behind the master cylinder, all kinds of different things. We found nothing. And I checked Identifix, and also it kind of corroborates with some experience I have on these, is that as, again, we're getting age on these cars, things are starting to fail that weren't failing 5 and 10 years ago, like the ABS control unit. Let's take a look where that's at. We can see down there by the front driver's side, by the transmission, there's our ABS electro-hydraulic unit. It's one combined unit that does your anti-lock brakes. That's right, the hydraulic portion of that has failed, so whenever you hit the brakes, the pressure that should be going out to the wheels gets lost inside of that unit. It just wasted on the springs and solenoids or whatever is in there, and you lose braking pressure. It's becoming a common fault on these older General Motor vehicles, and guess what? There's no new ones. You go to the dealer and say, I need an ABS control unit for a 2002 Buick, they'll probably laugh at you. They haven't made those in years. So, just like at the shop I worked at before, we always just got a good used unit. And no, there's no programming. I'll show you how we bypass the programming on the old unit. The one you just saw in there is actually the good used unit. The problem's actually already been solved with the brakes. They got good, strong brakes now. Let's take a look at that old one. So this is the unit that came off of it. It looks just like the one that was in there. You have all the brake lines coming out of it and whatnot. So you have an electric motor, the hydraulic block, and this is the electronic portion of it.
The thing is, Pug, man, it's quite fine. They haven't made them in years, but there's so many of these cars out there that was out on the road that it's pretty easy to find one of those used units here.
We've got the bolts removed, and I'll split it in half and show you what I mean. Look at that, guys. This is the hydraulic unit. This is the electronic unit. The processors, the capacitors, the circuit board, all that electrical magic happens inside of here. There's the connector. That's what this little guy does. This one is where the brake fluid goes into. This is where actually mechanical actions and things are happening inside of here. This is what failed. Not this. The electrical part is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes on most vehicles, when you replace an ABS unit or a body control module or an ECM or something, it has to be programmed to the vehicle. And these would likely have to be programmed as well, because if you just swap another one and plug it in, it may not be happy. The way we got around that for many years, and it still works today, is you keep your old electronic unit. You unbolt it, put the good used hydraulic unit and bolt it on in place. The computer doesn't even know the difference. As far as it's concerned, it never even knew that you worked on it. So you take the old hydraulic unit away and yeet it in the trash. You get a good used one that's good and put it on. You can get good used ones anywhere from $150, a couple $100. And I usually get them from a place that I trust. It's actually on eBay. I've been ordering stuff from them for a long time, and I really have never had a bad one, so I trust them. We got the good hydraulic unit installed, bled all the air out of it, put the old electronic unit, bolted it in, started up, did a small road test out in the parking lot, not on the road yet, just to make sure it's happy, and everything was happy. Had good, strong brakes, no brake lights, no warning lights. It was completely happy after that. So the brake issue is solved on this vehicle with a good used hydraulic ABS unit. And again, it's becoming a common issue with older GM models. There's, like I mentioned, age is catching up to these cars. So that's what I want to talk about with you guys now on these LeSabres. So there's nothing majorly wrong with this vehicle, and you're like, well, why are you trying to kick these to the curb? I'm not kicking them to the curb. I've changed my stance, and especially you guys that live in the Rust Belt up in the Northeast. Most of these are not even on the road anymore. They're so rusted out. Like I mentioned, this is a high school kid's car. And if you're using it for that, or a college kid's car, or just a tootle around town, there's still something that I would push really strongly. They're fairly reliable. And if there's a breakdown, you're not 700 miles from home. It can be fixed. It's not going to be super expensive. But now that we're getting to these vehicles to be over 20 years old, we're getting close to 25 years old on these vehicles, we can't stop time. Time is taking its toll on ABS modules, water pumps, ECMs. Everything on the car is finally getting old. So I can no longer recommend the Buick LeSabres with the 3800 as a family hauler that's your tried, true, dedicated, reliable cruiser for family road trips, for going to visit somebody for a funeral across the country or a wedding or whatever. Do not take one of these. They're old. It's very likely something's going to fail, just like this ABS module. So it's going to leave you on the side of the road. You don't want that to happen when you're 1,700 miles away from home. But they're still reliable and usable if you stay in town, like a high school car, something like that. Very safe, very reliable.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese, as long as you keep those maintained, that Chrysler minivan, those things are pretty durable too, though, so.
But as we're moving forward in time, what can you now drive that has 3800? Unfortunately, in 2008, they stopped making the 3800. There are no more after that. Luckily, you can still get a Buick Lucerne in 2008. It's basically an upscale modern version of a LeSabre, so kind of similar. And it has 3.8 or the 3800 engine in it. I've seen a few of those in the shop. Those are starting to get a little old as well. So being 2008 is less than 20 years old, there's still some time left in those vehicles. But the LeSabres, the Park Avenues, things of that nature, they're officially been dropped down in my eyes as no longer a road cruising vehicle for long distances. I can't recommend them that for anymore. So the question would be, what about the new cars, Car Wizard? What's out there that's going to be reliable like a 3800? So far, I'm not seeing anything that's presenting itself as being bulletproof like the 3800. There's a lot of newer vehicles out there today, regardless of the brand, that the engines are having high failure rates, are having all kinds of major failures. Time is going to have to tell, longer than a year or two, more like 10 years, 15 years, to prove, okay, out of all these new cars, here's the ones that was reliable. It's yet to be determined, but I don't have high hopes for 2025, 26 cars, 24s. I've actually gotten questions, emails and stuff for people I'm looking at this 24, 25 cars are going to be reliable. Again, I have friends that work at multiple dealerships across the country, and they're all saying, and this is multiple brands, they're seeing failures left and right. Transmission completely shelling out, engine shelling out.
Yeah, like I said, my transmission went out there, but everything else is solid on my car because it only has 130,000 miles on it. It was not driven that much here, so. But yeah, he's right. If you're getting vehicles at 200,000 miles, yeah, things are going to start failing on it.
I don't know what we're going to do, guys. It's time's going to have to tell. And secondly, on the questions of what's a good 2024, 25 reliable car, I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because they're still under factory warranty. No one's going to bring their 2025 car for repairs here because it's under warranty. They can get it fixed for free at the dealership. So if they're not coming here, that means one thing. I'm not seeing them. I don't know. It's going to be a few years down the road before I can tell you what 2025 cars are good or not. They're too new. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to finish up this LeSabre and get it back on the road, check our Amazon.
How about some soap and water or something and wash that car? Jeez.
Affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are very, very good tools. We use them every day. And they're listed for sale in that link in the description below. If you purchase anything, we get a small cut. We really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have a full schedule, which means tons of videos for you guys. Thanks for...
That's a good video, but yeah. But the thing is, I could have I mean, I have a good, reliable car now. I mean, even though the parts are no longer made for it, because there were so many out on the road, it's pretty easy to get a used one.
Today, the car was...
It's pretty easy just to get a new one here. All right, next video.
I think I've always been a polar bear.
Oh yeah, we watched that one. All right, couple shorts from Ryan here.
Robert, you on Block God mod? Well, yeah. I'm not. I know what I said. Yeah, bro, I'm unblocked right now. I'm still, you know, even though I said what I said the last live, I'm still undecided about Melvin. Because, again, you know, let me take the time, and I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible really quick.
Whether he unblocks me or not doesn't matter. I don't watch his live stream. It's boring. It's cookie cutter, you know?
My first encounter with Melvin, he came on my live. He was convinced that I was talking shit about him, and he threatened to come down here to South Florida and kick my ass. I'm still waiting.
No, I could still do that, too. I mean...
Still waiting! And understand something. His definition, Melvin's, because it's out there. It's all out there. The lives that I've done, there are certain lives that I've done that Cheese has uploaded that What I'm about to say is gospel. It's etched in stone. It's out there. I'm not lying. Melvin's definition of talking shit about him is me just doing a live, reading comments about him, and then at least 2 or 3 times I did...
That's not true. That's not true at all.
An impression of him, and that's it. So my first encounter with him on a live, this is why I say the onus is on him. If he wants to do anything about me, he needs to come down here. He already said it. It's on video. It's on YouTube. The onus is on him. I don't have to do a fucking thing. Nothing. Other than just get on with my fucking life.
That's the end game. Ding, 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 ding.
The thing about it is that it's all untrue. He's done a lot more than that, but the one thing that irritates me is simply the same reason for McCuck. They don't belong. They're not bodybuilders. They're not power lifters. They have no alpha credentials. They've never sold drugs. They've never worked at the expos or anything. They have literally done nothing in the bodybuilding, fitness, or any type of community whatsoever. They're just 2 lumps of shit that seem to be hanging around. That's it. That's what I don't like them, because they don't belong. They're cookie cutters. They are just cookie cutters. They have absolutely nothing to do with the bodybuilding and fitness industry. And that's what the Delray Misfits are. It's all formed around lifting weights at the gym. When's the last time you've seen these 2 flute booties work out in the gym?
Would you ever fight?
I mean, all I see him doing is just drinking beer.
Fight you? Listen, by the time you old enough to fight me, it's gonna be like Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson.
I'm ready now.
I'm gonna have kids that can kick your ass. My son will be waiting for you. I'll go make a baby tonight. That's how bad I will go make a baby tonight. Train him all the way up so he's old enough to beat your ass, and then send him here to beat your ass.
I'm ready anytime, anywhere. Would you?
But that's my whole thing about them, you know. It's like, what are you doing here? Why are you swimming in Lake Genova? Okay? He has no alpha credentials, he has no bodybuilding credentials, he has no powerlifting credentials, he has no drug dealer credentials whatsoever. They're just there. Chuck E. Cheese, you lift weights, right? Ryan, you lift weights. Quick Pump, you lift weights. What about McCuck and Cuban? They don't.
Hi,
who is Harry Dent?
Harry here with the rant for Friday, December 26th. As we go into this new year, I expect some fireworks, okay? I mean, this boom and bubble has been stretched.
Exactly, Chuck E. Cheese. Exactly, Ryan. And I've seen, and Chuck E. Cheese, you a big motherfucker too, you know. I mean, we're all lifters up here, you know, all of us. Cuban just sits there and drinks beer, and the problem is the fact of association. Why are you wanting to why is a non-lifting, non-drug dealing, non-fitness person associating with people like us for? Makes no sense.
And stretched and stretched. Even with the 45 and 90 year technology innovation cycle where you do get bubbles the most, even that finally peaked in late 2019 and should have been strongly down into 2022 and beyond. It actually points down all the way into 2032. Demographic cycle peaked a long time ago. So everything points down. One thing's been pointing up for a long time, and it's called stimulus. Now close to $30 trillion in combined fiscal and monetary stimulus, as I've been preaching for a long time here. But even that's been now cut back, okay? So it's been cut back almost a third on the balance sheet side, okay? But we're still running $2 trillion deficit, okay, this year. So it's not as much as it's been, but it's still stimulus. But the nature of stimulus is it takes more and more and more to keep an artificial BS bubble going, okay? So where do we stand now? Let's just look at the big picture, okay? Real estate, greatest, longest bubble in history, last major low, and that's where any major correction is going to go, okay? Last major low, early to mid 2012, okay? It's bubbled into 2025. No real estate bubble's gone that great, that long in history. What it would take to just go back down to that last low, nobody would think that 74% now for the average home in Ohio. Okay, you got an upscale house that's more than that. I mean, this is something the banks and people cannot withstand. And we'll see how it actually works out because we know the government's going to fight this. But again, you lose credibility when you keep stimulating more and more and more, and the next crash is always worse. And that's.
He's exactly right about it there. I mean, you don't want to get overstimulated there. Otherwise, your noodle drops. I'm delusional, though. Old man trying to play a young man's game. They thought that they were going to get him. No, they're not. They're not getting famous whatsoever. You know what was really pathetic is that McCuck actually stuck himself in that picture, though. You know, I don't want them to be cookie cutters. They need to start being piss troopers. Get in the freaking gym and lift.
That's what we've had. Greater bubbles, greater crashes. So there's a point where
if Cuban can do that, I would have a lot more respect for him as well as McCuck.
I think the public says, well, wait a minute here, okay? I'm hoping we reach that point, but we don't know till we get there. Stocks! You can't even compare this to the 25 to 29 bubble, okay? Or the bubble into 1836, which is the other great bubble and crash and depression back in the 1800s and all this stuff, and 1873 to 77. I mean, we cannot compare this, okay? Stocks. To just go back to the last major low, which was early 2009. Now it's 90% for the S&P 500, 95% for the NASDAQ, okay? And we have two leading sectors here to track, okay? Just like we had coming into the first tech bubble from late 94 into early 2000. Back then, it was the internet stocks like Cisco, and it was now at the latest stage, the dot-com stocks like Amazon, which was small back then, obviously huge now. Next big thing emerging, okay? So now we have crypto led by Bitcoin and AI led by NVIDIA. What's coming latest? AI, that will be the biggest impact down the road, okay? But both of these bubbles are going to burst together just like they did before. And what do we see? Right here in the early stages, Bitcoin's already been down 35%.
Bitcoin is just way too volatile. I mean, a lot of people are losing their shirts in Bitcoin. Don't go, if you ain't got Bitcoin already, don't go and buy it. All right? I mean, you walking with the devil right there.
And NVIDIA has already been down 18%. That tells me, folks, very, very likely now this was a top. But
NVIDIA will be down temporarily, but with AI coming, there's going to be a lot more need for those chips. So I think that's only going to be temporary.
Because of those two leading securities in the leading sectors, okay? That's just there's no good way to judge anything anymore. They've distorted the economy so much. But that's a very, good indicator right there. Gold and silver, I think I've got my competitor down here in Puerto Rico, Peter Schiff, equally calling a big crash. He sees the bubble like.
If he lives in Puerto Rico, I mean, this guy obviously is a financier. If he's living in Puerto Rico, that's actually a pretty good idea. I mean, there's a lot of monetary savings by living there, so.
Like we do, okay? But he thinks gold is going to be the safe haven. I'm like, well, how can gold be the safe haven when it's bubbling now more than stocks? Last 3 years, it's bubbled a little more than the QQQ and the NASDAQ 100 and a lot more than the S&P 500. And over the last 5 years, for the last full stage of this bubble, even though it's been 16 years totally, the bubble within the bubble has been since COVID. and it's been, you got all these things, Bitcoin and crypto and NVIDIA leading this, okay? So there's no way that we can see Bitcoin or anything like that be the safe haven, and not gold. Gold and silver have bubbled too. It is the everything bubble. This is what's never happened before. Roaring 20s bubble. Real estate had a more normal boom. It was stocks that bubbled. It was too hard to borrow money against real estate and speculate back then, okay? So now we're in this final stage. We got the Santa Claus rally, which happens from the 24th, the end of the 23rd, into this case, it'd be the 5th of January, the second trading day of the new year. So we're likely to tread up a little or even a good bit, but this is very likely to be it. And if we don't see a Santa Claus rally, then that's going to be an early indicator that 2026 is going to be the biggest crash year we've seen in a while. So folks, it's real simple. What I'm looking for now, okay, January is a critical month. And again, I've been talking about this for a good while. If the first week of January, which really now would end on January 9th, okay, that's a Monday, I think that's a Monday, okay, the first kind of full week of January, if that is down, it does not bode well for the year. And then you go back forward one more step. If the whole month of January ends up being down, that does not bode well for the year. So I would love to see those signs to confirm what I'm already heavily suspecting after stretching this bubble 6 more years than it would have been even on the 90-year and 45-year cycle, that this is going to be where we see the markets break. And again, all it's taking is just a pullback in stimulus. And of course, the government's going to step in again, but I say they'll be too late. And again, the history of first.
I mean, ultimately, the thing about it is that investing's always great, but when investments are not exactly working, you still got to get the hardline stuff, like selling products and everything. And I'm just talking in the sense of the general working man itself. Because I'll tell you right now, most general people, they're not good investors. I'm a average to mediocre investor. I'm good at spotting things, but I'm not a super great investor. So, which is why I rely more on selling products, running businesses and stuff like that, because, that's my main specialty. It's hard goods. It works. At least it didn't work this year, obviously, but consistently speaking over the past 25 years, I've only had 2 years, including this one, to where I took this year is probably the deepest I've ever taken a dump on. And part of that was just simply not expecting the outcome as far as the tariffs are concerned. But a lot of people just need to get the selling stuff and start owning their own, need to be self-employed and have their own little side hustle.
Crashes, and I've preached this for years now. First crash, 42% in 2 to 3 months. And this one should be on the high side of that range, 50% minimum. And I think it's going to be a little higher than that for the NASDAQ. So a whack like that, I think, is going to shake investors, shake the markets. Because again, at some point, The same thing happens over and over again. We have a downturn, we artificially stimulate higher than the last time, and then the next crash is worse and goes lower than the last time. There is a point where even people that aren't that bright get it. I hate to say it, but I mean, there's a point where it's obvious that this is not working, and it should be obvious. You cannot live on artificial stimulus alone. If we can, then we can all sit back and never really have to work that hard again, and maybe not all. We just print money, spend it. Oh yeah, there'll have to be some people work to make those goods, but you know what I'm saying. That this is ludicrous when you think about it. So again, this is the only totally artificial bubble in history other than the South Seas and Mississippi land bubble in England and France back in 1720 to 22, okay? That government's totally pumped up, government ventures overseas, everybody bought into it, only rich people back then, and then it burst 99%, okay? This is the only artificial bubble. The artificial bubble has got to end worse than a normal bubble. The Roaring 20s was a natural bubble. The 90s was a natural bubble. Tech stocks leading, roaring, doing well, demographics full out. In the Roaring 20s, it was the demographics of the biggest immigration surge in history. This time it was the baby boomers, okay? That's when you have natural bubbles. Well, this bubble since 2009 would have occurred in a time that would have been more like a depression, like the 1930s, and was massive in artificial stimulus. So this is what has to unwind now. No way to 100% tell, because this has not happened before, but I can tell you, I think it's going to be as bad or worse than most people are thinking, who are realistic enough to realize you can't bubble forever. So again, be cautious, be out. Now, if we see positive signs in January, then it may be okay to get back and at least be back in the markets on a kind of a tenuous basis for a while, okay? But let's stay out, let's be safe, and let's look at the signs in January, and I'll definitely keep you updated on those.
I mean, that's a sound guy. I mean, I could see why he's a famous financier. But for most people, they just need to get a side hustle. They shouldn't even be touching investing there. I'll be honest with you. Who posted that? BJ Hughes Official? Now, you know you got to put a donation in order to, because you're not one of the OGs here. You know, I've already have an exemption list listed, but I'm going to let you slide on that. But you gotta drop some dollars, whoever that is.
All right, how's everybody doing? We got a couple big updates in Wes Watson's criminal case this week. Just to give a quick primer, Wes rejected all...
Before I do that, let's get some Pugman stuff in here. So, I'm going to put your stuff up, Pugman, if you don't mind here. So,
saying my phone number got leaked. Fucking irritating. Finn died.
Aww.
Finn died. Oh my god, his hinge. Yeah, after having Finn, I'm thoroughly convinced Pomeranians are the best dogs. Saying.
Oh man, that really sucks that his dog died. And I know all the comments that are going to come next about it there, so I'm just going to leave that where it is here. So, I mean, it's always pretty bad when your pet dies regardless of circumstances, and I'm not going to be in a position, you know, I'm not going to do the same thing that I did last time as far as Purismo. I'm going to be a lot nicer about it, so I wish all the best for my cousin as far as his pet's concerned.
Just steaming shit pile. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Miss Rachel is disgusting. She made a video telling kids they shouldn't express sadness or anger. Shocked people compare her to Mr. Rogers when in reality she is the exact opposite.
He's his uncle? Interesting. He's still got to put some money in.
women should not be giving advice to kids, period. Like, I think it's like an objective proven fact now that women can't raise children. Single fathers
My God, what is he talking about?
raise kids better than single mothers, and they even raise kids better than parents that are together, like a mother and father. Women are a detriment to raising children. Like, they literally do.
Well, it's simply because women make less money in the workforce. A single father is still a man, and he's going to make a lot more money than a woman. So it's not that. It's really just the fact that women make less money in the workforce than men.
Do not know how to raise kids. So why the fuck would anyone allow their kid to watch a woman give their children fucking life advice? And, like, Miss Rachel in particular is just a fucking manipulative, horrible cunt. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, women actually raise kids better than fathers, obviously. I was raised by my mother. I didn't have my father around or anything. But the fact remains that, you know, a father can provide more than a mother simply because women make less in the workforce. It's a money issue, you know. That's really all that is.
The biggest question I get constantly is, how do I get bigger? And everyone knows the answer, but they continue to ask the question. And the obvious answer is, you fucking eat more, right? It's kind of like overweight women that ask the question, how do I lose weight? I just can't seem to, I don't know, you really don't know how to lose weight? You really honestly are asking me that question and you really don't know the answer? Or are you just wasting my fucking time?
Why would Generation Iron publish something 3 days ago for something that he filmed probably over 10 years ago? I mean, that literally is a 10-year-old video, and they're posting it up 3 days ago like it's brand new. What in God's name is Generation Iron doing to begin with? I mean, that's... Kai Green, Olympia return, Victor Martinez on the dark sides of body. I mean, they got a lot of stupid videos lately. Especially a lot of Kai Green. Kai Green has not competed in years. I mean, literally years. Why are we still talking about Kai Green for? Why, or better yet, why is Generation Iron still continuing to talk about Kai Green as if he's relevant? He was a great bodybuilder, but he's no longer competing. He is small and useless to us now. As Big Lenny would used to say, he is no longer competing. He is small and useless to us at this point.
Plea offers, so now the case is set for trial in March. And because he said no deal, the state is now moving forward with 2 felony assault counts instead of 1. And to top it off, West's counsel filed for statutory immunity under Florida Statute 7.
Are they nuts? I'm going to take a piss. I'm going to be right back. Statutory immunity. Statutory immunity. Oh boy, I'm gonna like to hear this here.
moving forward with 2 felony assault counts instead of 1. And to top it off, West's counsel filed for statutory immunity under Florida Statute 776, aka Stand Your Ground. So today I'm going to explain what that actually means, how that
Are they nuts? Stand your ground?
procedure actually works in court, and the best arguments for and against whether stand your ground can apply here. And just a quick disclaimer, guys, this isn't legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. And if you try to cite my YouTube channel in court, I'll pretend I don't know you. Okay, so first update. The plea offer was rejected. Now, we're not aware of what that plea was. I presume one of the felony assault counts would have been dropped if he would agree to plead guilty to one of them. So, again, the basic breakdown of this is, how does this work, okay? So a plea offer is basically the state saying, here's a controlled landing. You take X, we drop Y, and again, nobody has to roll the dice with the jury. Now, when Wes officially rejects these plea offers, and now that means it's going to trial, that means the state is done negotiating and playing nicely. Now they're ready for trial, and now all charges are back on the table. So in this case, rejecting the plea offer actually caused the state to reinitiate and reinstate the original charges. So now again, whereas before West was facing one count, of felony assault at trial, now he's back to facing 2 counts of felony assault at trial. Again, that's not just double trouble in a cute way. That's double.
He has no chance of getting a stand your ground on that. No chance.
Exposure, more counts, more possible verdict combinations, more sentencing risk, and more leverage for the state if they come back later with a new offer that suddenly feels less optional. And again, this is also why defense lawyers will always say trial is a right, but it's also a high-stakes math problem. The courtroom is not a podcast studio. Nobody cares about his brand. The jury is going to care about evidence, credibility, and whether your story makes sense when slowed down frame by frame. Okay, now we're on to the second big update. Wes's counsel filed for statutory immunity under Florida Stand Your Ground. So what does this mean really? Okay, so Florida Stand Your Ground isn't just self-defense. It's a concept that includes something much bigger, statutory immunity. What does that mean? That means, and again, this is very important here, if the judge finds stand your ground applies at the immunity hearing, not at trial, at an immunity hearing before trial, the defendant here being West isn't just not guilty. He's legally immune from prosecution for that use of force. So everything's dismissed and they cannot reinitiate those charges. They can attempt to argue it on appeal, but for all intents and purposes, this case is over. And it can potentially end the criminal case trial before it even begins. So now, what does Wes's counsel filing specifically for statutory immunity under 776.032 mean? It means the defense is saying, Judge, don't even let this go to a jury. Wes's use of force was justified under Florida self-defense law, so he should be immune from the entire prosecution. So an important procedural point here. Under Florida statute, once the defendant raises a prima facie claim of self-defense immunity at this hearing, the burden, so basically once they establish by preponderance of the evidence that this was self-defense in this case, the burden shifts to the state. So now the state has the burden to overcome that immunity by
that won't be too hard to do.
By clear and convincing evidence. Again, that's a tougher standard than more likely than not, which is what the defense has, but it's not as high as reasonable doubt, which we'll have, or beyond a reasonable doubt, which we'll have if this goes to a trial. So again, to make that sort of simple, this hearing is basically a mini trial in front of a judge with evidence, witnesses sometimes, and arguments. But ultimately, the goal here is immunity. And if Wes loses this immunity hearing, the case still goes to trial and he can still argue self-defense to the jury. He just doesn't get the case dismissed early jackpot here. So in Wes's case, this hearing is actually more important than the actual trial itself. Because again, if he's successful in this hearing, we're not even looking at a trial here. Okay, so how does stand your ground fit in this case? So let's apply it to the situation in the simplest way possible. Stand your ground generally turns on questions like, did Wes reasonably believe he faced an imminent threat of death or great bodily harm?
Well, the answer for that is yes, initially. He came to the gym wanting to fight, and regardless as far as the West baiting him into doing that, he did face imminent threat at the time, so he does factor that in. However, well, I'll let him explain.
Was the force used necessary to prevent that harm?
No.
Was that force proportional?
No.
Was Wes the initial aggressor, or did he withdraw and try to stop it?
No.
Did the threat end, and did the force stop when the threat ended? That's the most important part, in my opinion, regarding this situation in particular. So this is all where the context matters. This isn't some dark alley with no witnesses. It's a gym with people, cameras, and a timeline that can be replayed in HD. And that's why here the stand your ground is either a legitimate strategic motion based on evidence maybe we haven't seen, or a Hail Mary because the trial's coming and nobody likes the odds. Sometimes it can be both. Now, what I want to do here is a little different than usual. I actually want to go through the strongest arguments for and against. So we're going to play devil's advocate a little bit first and go through the strongest arguments that stand your ground could apply here. So argument one, obviously, is I didn't start it. I don't think that's disputed. Nobody's saying that Wes literally went out to start this fight. Again, some of his social media posts may be construed as being the instigator, but there's no doubt that the plaintiff here is the one that actually showed up to the gym and approached Wes. So that's going to be their first potential argument. Now, number two, they also have to show that Wes reasonably feared imminent harm. So, again, what Wes is likely going to argue, or his counsel, we know Hakeem Ibrahim's not a small man, 7-foot giant, but he is a larger person, obviously, and he was approaching Wes not in a calm, cool, collected manner that maybe he was going to ask him a question. It's clear that the way that he approached him was in an aggressive way.
Well, Wes challenged him to for anyone to come out to the gym to fight him. That's instigation there. And I mean, when you issue out an open challenge, that means anyone can come, including a 7-foot monster.
And so again, Wes could argue that he was reasonably fearful for his life at that point. And here's a very important argument that they're going to utilize. In Florida, there's no duty to retreat. So again, you have no duty to run away. Anyone that says he could have run away or avoided this situation, it doesn't apply in Florida. So if Wes was there lawfully and confronted, they're going to argue that he had a right to stand his ground rather than backpedal out of frame. Because again, you have no duty to retreat here in Florida. Moving on, another argument would be, that the state can't overcome immunity by clear and convincing evidence. Because remember, once the defense establishes by preponderance of the evidence of self-defense claim at this hearing, now that burden shifts, as we talked about. Now the state has a little bit of a higher burden by clear and convincing evidence that this is not a self-defense claim. So if the facts are muddy, witnesses conflict, video is, maybe not as clear, or reasonable support for self-defense, that burden can be tough if that burden shifts to the state. So again, in layman's terms, if the evidence looks like a coin flip, stand your ground is the defense trying to end the game before the jury ever sits down, right? So essentially here, Wes's argument is going to hinge on him not being the original instigator of the altercation. They're going to hinge on the fact that Florida does not require duty to retreat, and he reasonably feared for his life. So now let's talk about the other side, okay? The reasons that this is not stand your ground. So first and foremost, the proportional force necessary, right? So we're talking about proportionality and when the threat ended. This is the big one in a lot of cases. And here, even if you can use force initially, you can't keep using force after the threat ends. So if the state shows that Hakeem Ibrahim is clearly no longer a threat on the ground, and the force continues, that self-defense umbrella closes. So now, again, he's going to be left without a legitimate claim for anything that occurred after Hakeem Ibrahim was no longer a threat. Moving on, another argument will be reasonable fear is again going to be a requirement of West to show, and the state can obviously counter any reasonable fear by a lot of the posts that West has made in regards to this. Obviously, he instigated a lot of these altercations. He invited people to come fight him specifically at this gym. So again, this reasonable fear argument is going to fall flat on his face, and we've seen him and heard him in podcasts say how he, he's this fearless, jacked, never lost a fight. It's going to be hard to then say that he was really terrified and shaken, in his lifts, and was unable to do anything and had to resort to the level.
Oh, wait a minute. Did he say he was talking about his foot lifts?
So
he went and cut a little joke in the middle of that.
So again, this reasonable fear argument is going to fall flat on his face, and we've seen him and heard him in podcasts say how he, he's this fearless, jacked, never lost a fight. It's going to be hard to then say that he was really terrified and shaken, in his lifts, and was unable to do anything and had to resort to the level of violence he did. So, and another thing here that matters, obviously, is the fact that this hearing is going to be with a judge, not a jury. So it's not 12 random people. It's going to be one judge deciding whether the state can overcome immunity under the statute. And again, judges, unlike juries, are more predictable. They follow clear legal lines. So I think that here, that's going to be very difficult for West to overcome. Is that he's facing a judge at this hearing, and a judge is aware of all these different sort of intricacies of the law, more so than a jury would be. So they're going to need more legal than, trying to appeal to a jury's emotions or anything like that. Either way, I think that this is going to be by far the most important hearing. I think it's more important than the trial for West because this is his last opportunity to get this done and dismissed and go back to, screaming at gardeners back at his house. So I think it's incredibly important, and obviously, like I said, we'll be covering it, the whole way through. Okay, so what happens next? So basically, guys, here's where we are. He rejected the pleas, trial scheduled for March. The state is now proceeding on 2 felony assault counts, and the defense is filing again for the stand your ground statutory immunity. The next step is going to be that immunity hearing where the defense, again, has to raise that prima facie case, which just means that they have to show by preponderance of the evidence, so just more like
yeah, he's done for.
Likely than not that there is a self-defense claim here, and then that burden shifts to the state where they try to overcome it by clear and convincing evidence. If West wins that hearing, the criminal case ends right there. If he loses, he can still argue self-defense at trial, again, but now he's going to do it with the jury watching and the state coming in hotter because the negotiation phases are all over. So they're going to be coming in guns blazing. All right, guys, what I want to know down in the comments from you guys is, what do you guys think? Do you think that there's any self-defense, legitimate self-defense argument?
No. That's why I laughed about statute. I mean, it is a Hail Mary. I mean, but it's not going to hit anywhere. I mean, that's insane. I mean, does he actually really think that that's going to...
All right, that's everybody doing.
Does he really think that that's actually going to work? No, it's not going to work. That's just nuts.
And where down we go.
Yeah, look at Jordan. The way I see NBA bodybuilding, I see that in the same way as I see NBA or any other sports. People used to dress in suits and ties in the 90s and 80s. Somehow we have lost our way. Look at Jordan. Business suit, tie, looking good and everything. That's how you should be looking. Scottie Pippen. And folks, let me remind you, Scottie Pippen wrote me a bad check one time. So fuck him. But he made good on it there, so he's still cool. But in any event, he's cool with me now that he reversed that check there. But still, I'm still every time that I see him, I still think about that time he wrote me that bad check. He writes a check and then goes back to the bank to cancel it, a la Keith Jones, you know. But here he is, dressed very well. There's Kobe Bryant. Look at how he's dressed. Doesn't look like a circus clown. And now we got this. Now, I haven't seen it. What in the world is he? What the heck? Oh, Jesus Christ. This dude's wearing a skirt. He has a suit coat on. You know, all he needed was some pants there and he would have been okay. But I'm like, ugh. What in God's name? Yeah, I know a Squidward sweater. I mean, I don't he must have been on some crack or something. That's crack.
A mentally handicapped person over and over and over in my thing. You guys need to stop. Did I not give you a fair chance to stop bringing up a fucking retard over and over and over and over and over and over? What is your guys' obsession with a fucking retarded person? Like, why are you guys so obsessed with him? What is wrong with you mentally that you're obsessed with a retarded person? Yeah, no, it's just, it's stupid. And it's stupid and it's annoying. No, I literally fucking hate everyone who follows.
One thing I can respect Chuck E. Cheese about Jinkos is that was their style. They never deviated from it. They know who they were and they knew the product that they sold. So I respect anyone that sells Jinko pants and consistently wears them. That's the style. It's just that he just didn't wear them exactly right. It was a fashion. It was just a style. I respect people that will wear Jinkos every single day because you know exactly who they are. Period.
Follows Jason Genova at this point. Like, I want them to just die. Everyone who follows Jason Genova should just die. There, put that up. Put that up as a remix. If you're a fan of his and follow his, you should die. That's how I feel about it.
That's a mean kitty here. That's mean to say. Why would you say that about Janoi? Tell someone they're going to want to die. That's not cool.
If I have to destroy everything in my path, even women, anything in my path, I will. I'm hungry for power. I want power.
Why don't you start with all the peacocks outside?
I want power. I'm thirsty.
Wipe all those.
I don't care. I don't care about nothing. I want power, even if I have to destroy everything.
What are you babbling about today?
Destroy myself and destroy everything around me? I will to become a millionaire.
Destroy yourself? I think
Yes.
you've already done that.
Well, I'm gonna destroy and become machine. This. They want to play this game?
Yeah, I mean, Quick Pump, I respect people who truly wear Jinkos. They're being themselves, they're consistent. They're not just doing it for a fad, and he's just wearing Jinkos as a fad. I know people that have worn Jinkos for 30 years. I mean, they're like in their 50s and 60s. They're around my age, and they're still wearing Jinkos to this day. Sometimes they'll wear shorts, but, you know, I respect anyone that consistently wears it as regular wear, not just as a fad or anything, because there's a...
Cheers, sweetness.
I wish I could play that, but I can't. But... You see, the one thing that I hate most is inauthentic people. Jinkos is authentic. Yeah, they're big and baggy, and I would not wear them. But you know, they're more associated with that big LA scene. You know, the people that are not, what's the best way to describe it? Non-conforming. So if you're wearing Jinkos and you continue to wear Jinkos throughout your life, you're backing up your fact that you're not going to conform to the standard person. You're not going to conform to what someone should wear. You're not going to be influenced by peer pressure or anything. You're going to be authentic. You're going to be yourself. Jinko has never changed their style. You know, when you hear the word Jinko, you know it's ultra wide pants. Non-negotiable. All right? I respect Jinko because Jinko is who they are. They know who they are. Remember what I said in the very beginning about valuing yourself and your reputation over, you know, anything else here, you know? So I respect Jinko. I mean, people can make fun of people wearing Jinkos, but like I said, the people that have been wearing them for 20, 30 years, they're respected because they consistently stand by their own values. That they are non-conforming, they're not gonna blend in with society, and that's perfectly fine. You know. Now, if Jinko all of a sudden started making regular pants, then I'm gonna lose all respect for them because then they're moving away from what's doing here.
Cheers, sweetness.
So I cannot play the blood in, blood out, but let's see if I can find a substitute. Yeah, I think this will work.
Now for my brown brothers. Sorry, no tortilla. Wait a minute. There's a ray of sunshine in all that darkness down there. Come up here, sweetness. Muévete. You keeping all these hungry fienders waiting? Muévete, güero. What's the hold up? It's okay, Sarge. He was out of line. He was in here before.
Generally speaking, I wore, I mean, in the 90s, I wore Sebagos. And I wore I did have somewhat baggy pants at one time when I was wearing sneakers. But for the most part, I wore Bugle Boy jeans, you know. And I wore, I wore Bugle Boy jeans and I wore Carpenter pants.
You're catching a ride on the wrong train. You ought to be up here at the front of the line, ahead of those jungle bunnies. I don't take no free tickets on no one's train. You take a ticket, or you get run over. It's better to ride up front, first class, eat with the white folks. Know what I mean? Pour it on your own time, Albert. She's jealous. Hey, where's my chop? That was the last one. Hey, I want my fucking chop, Puerco. Please be courteous to the help. We've run out. We only get pork once a year. I know you got more back there. Only for the kitchen detail. Perhaps one of them might send you one. I ain't buying what's mine. Get out of the fucking trip home. There's no freebies. Your mama was a freebie. Top guy. You want to ride up? Then you want to go to London, huh? Alma la Move it! Come on, we got 10 minutes here. Let's eat.
You sold our meat, Al. Been getting by with that shit too long.
We ran out of that. Now move on, flycatcher. Got hungry men behind you.
I'm gonna fold your bluffing hands someday, you chicken shit motherfucker.
In your dreams, Pedro. In your dreams.
Chale, cálmala.
Now, here's the thing there, Quick Pump. I did wear spandex in the 80s. And I wore Troop LL Cool J shoes. And I wore windbreakers, too. I mean, that was just the thing. Obviously, I wouldn't wear those today. I mean, when I went to the gym in the 90s, I wore clown pants. I wore T. Michaels there. And I had a cassette player, you know, and stuff. I mean, so I wasn't any different than anyone else. At school, I did not wear baggy pants or anything like that. Mine were slightly baggy but that was only when I was wearing tennis shoes. Now, when I had some, but the thing about it is, folks, I mostly wore Sebagos whenever I was at school. So let me show you vintage Sebagos. And practically at Clyde A. Irwin High School, I would say about 70% of the school, entire school, I kid you not, 70% of the entire school wore Sebagos. Let me find a picture of vintage Sebagos. Hang tight. And that way you guys will get an idea as far as to what they were. So, here's a perfect pair. So these here, these are Sebagos. These are vintage Sebagos. This is pretty much what I wore, except mine were in a little darker color. The reason being is because I had size 12 shoes, so wearing these would look like boats. So mine were a dark brown color, so that way it didn't make my feet look big. Now, these had Goodyear treads on them, so the cool thing about these Sebagos is you could still wear these 30 years later because the treads are removable. They're Goodyear treads, folks. That means if you go to a cobbler and your treads wore down, they can actually replace the bottom treads. You could literally wear these shoes forever and then some, because the treads are replaceable. This part here, that's replaceable. But I would say 70% of the school wore those shoes. I'm not joking neither, folks. I really am not. As far as my shoes in the 90s, let me find a pair. Oh my gosh. So there were two brands I would wear. This here is a pair of Etonics that I used to wear back in the day. They were just like this here. I would wear this. And I would also wear this year. So the tennis shoes that I mostly wore were that shoe and K-Swisses. I wore a lot of K-Swisses here, folks. Those are the type of shoes that I actually wore. They weren't the thing about Sebagos. When you wore those, it was a typical, college preppy type thing. If you were a college prep type person and you fit in that mold, you wore Sebagos in the 90s. But I also wore K-Swisses because I like my shoes white. And I wore K-Swisses for a long time. I could still wear K-Swisses to this day if I wanted to. But I already have a solid pair of white shoes. But those are the two shoes I had. I had the Tonics and I wore K-Swisses in the 90s. But I mostly wore Sebagos. And I wore Sebagos with white socks too, on top of that. That was another thing. You wore them with white socks, sometimes with black socks. But the Sebagos, when you wore them back in the 90s, you wore them with white socks. Not white tennis socks there. You wore them with white dress socks. Preferably. Non-negotiable. So, you take your Sebagos. I had that. And I would have just a regular pair of jeans on, Bugle Boy jeans, collared shirt, and I was one of the few people that actually carried a briefcase, actually a leather briefcase instead of a backpack. So I actually carried a briefcase around to keep all my school books in. And it did have a strap on it to where I can carry it around like that, but most of the time I used a handle on it. That was just me. And part of the reason is that along with going to school, I also sold stuff. So a lot of my sales material, brochures, catalogs, I kept in my briefcase as well. So with that, I was already, after I left school, if I didn't work at Taco Bell that day, I'd be out selling some stuff there, trying to get some money, trying to get my stuff in, But yeah, that was a style in the 90s that I actually had, so. Let's do one more.
Yes. Let's go back now, Hey, you don't mind if I keep you on my wing for a little while, I mean, I gotta take care of you. What? We homeboys, right? Gracias, dale. Simón. White bitch, give me some chon-chon. Stay away from me. Nothing but being here, punk. Chinga tu madre. Okay. Try to give it up. Che puta! La que es la dura será. You want me to take it? You want me to rape you, puto? I see the color of your blood, gabacho.
See, that's a safe version of doing it. No, I didn't sell any yayo. Like I said, I worked at Taco Bell, so I mean that was I flipped tacos. But yeah, folks, these things change. I mean, things change. I still got a pair of Sebagos, but the Sebagos I actually wear are a lot different than today, than they were 30-some years ago. Oh, man. It looks like I gotta look these up. I bought my Sebagos, my last pair of Sebagos, about 3 years ago. Hang tight, I'm gonna pull these up. So these are the Sebagos I have now. These are Sebago Joes. And I guess I can't enlarge it. So those are the ones I own nowadays. And I think they're about, if you could find them, they're about $238. So they hold their value. I had those in elementary school, but moved to Vans and Converse. I also wore some Converse. I mean, I mostly wear Converse now. I have a lot of Converse shoes, Chuck E. Cheese. But I was pretty much a preppy.
Vince, what shoes get you the most, cat?
Quick Pump with a $2 donation. I would have to say it's my solid white shoes. Similar to my K-Swiss, I mean, at least under that style itself. Because white shoes will pretty much go with anything. But the important thing is they got to be leather. Converse shoes will work as well if you wear them correctly. And most importantly, don't have lifts in them like Wes Watson. But again, thanks for the donation. But a pair of solid white shoes, casual shoes, and you put your outfit together right, you know, that's going to always work. But yeah, I was best way to describe it, I was pretty much a preppy in the 90s and stuff. So I mean, I grew up in the hood, that's and stuff like that, but I was pretty much one of those preppy. I studied a bunch and everything. So that was just me, basically. And as far as me wearing Etonics, I went the tops for shoes. They were $30. I spent more money on my computer than I did really on fashion. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I don't wear my Sebago Joes that much. I wore them about 2 months ago. It's just that I don't go out that much these days, so there's not many situations to where I would wear those. I don't wear them with socks. I wear those sockless actually, since they are horse-bit loafers. A lot of times I don't wear socks with my loafers generally, unless it's really cold outside. But since then, you know, over the course of time, you know, I do have slight changes in fashion. And and the good thing about Facebook is that you could simply tell the changes itself. Like, take this picture here. Now this one, for example. This is, I would say, about... This picture's over 10 years old, but if you can tell, you know, I got one of those I had one of those watches at the time that you could make calls from. Had the radio similar to an iWatch, except this was an Android watch that I wore at the time. As you could tell, I also still tried to hold on to my hair as well. And I'm just wearing something very basic and simple. You know, so like I said, and of course, obviously, the biggest thing is glasses. Then, of course, we got, you know, this here. I don't wear, I donated that shirt. I don't wear these types of pants anymore. Still got the shoes, though. But yeah, at that time, you could get a lot of puss with this here. Can't do it these days. It's outdated. This one here, you know, boots, zip up wise, yeah. Oh boy, let's see. I don't mind running it a little bit over just to get my... I just have to demonstrate to you guys as far as to, you know, just how much style has actually changed there. So let me do one more. There's one in particular that I'll go ahead and put up. Wow, I've taken a lot of pictures over the years. Definitely not showing you this picture. Y'all do not need to know what my ex looks like, so... Of course, some of you guys remember this picture here. And like I said, that's how I wore that shirt with the suit coat and everything, so... But like I said, folks, times actually change, and even your shirts, your ideals, everything. Even going to the gym... I mean, even the style as far as going to the gym has actually changed. I don't wear these shoes anymore or anything like that, you know. And I definitely don't wear any Prime Nutrition stuff neither. This here is classic 90s. Right there, folks. You know, when wearing this in the 90s, you're not out of place. You're looking good. That's that era of things, folks. But you know what? It is now 12:05 p.m. Indeed, the home business. I will leave you off with this here. the home business king. Now, if you're wanting to look like, if you want to really get some push, you put, this is what I was meaning. Navy blue suit coat, sports coat, crisp white shirt, a pair of nice jeans. You're casual, you will get some puss with that. But folks, that is the end of the show. I do want to thank Quick Pump and Matt for donating. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Tune in tomorrow for Saturday Soul, baby. Soul. And I'm out of here, and as always, peace and soul.
Bye.